What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys. And of course, as always, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us anywhere and everywhere at My Cowboys Family, and of course, hop in the Discord, link for that's in the description box down below. And as we get rolling here tonight, guys, on our Fan Friday, the famliest of Fridays, we have, of course, some things to touch on before tomorrow's preseason game against the Chargers.
That's right. The end of the preseason is here, and the regular season is about 2 weeks away. So I know we all are excited for that. Got to get through one more preseason game, and we'll be live with that tomorrow here on My Cowboys Family. We'll give you our thoughts, our impressions, all the preview and recap of the game during tomorrow's live stream. For the finale of the week, by the way, I know it's our first one of this week, but it's a 2-week span. So there's our third live stream in the last 2 weeks, and tomorrow we'll finish it up with our fourth one and crown some champions. We'll talk about that in a minute. One of the champions might be the guy you just saw on the screen there, Mr. Dwayne Broussard.
The top dog himself came through with a $2 holler to kick things off, and he said, "Go Cowboys."
Go Cowboys. Much love to him as well, because he has been dropping some thanks. He dropped $2 thanks in the in our videos from the week or shorts, whatever it may be. So big shout out to Dwayne Broussard, again, top dog Bay Bullies as well, aka. And by the way, he's also in that silver level along with A. Lavelle on Fan Fridays. We shout you guys out, as well as Skeptical Fan in the star level, Marissa Sparkle in the star level, and LC in the star level. So thank you guys as we give you our Fan Friday shout-outs ahead of the time, I guess. That's you could say. But before we get to the rest of the shout-outs and the news info and updates on our Cowboys, the recap of this final week in Oxnard and training camp, and the preview for this upcoming game, let's shout out those that rep the channel here for the last couple of weeks. And there's none other than the chillest of all pills, Chill Pill. Thank you, Chill Pill, who dominated record-breaking numbers on After Dark as the sponsor of the week and the Cash App King. Today, tomorrow, might be the last night for Chill Pill. Remember, we're only taking the totals from this side. No more After Dark. So this is the last time After Dark gets to shine on the main channel. Although I will say, Chill Pill holds it down tomorrow as well, of course, in the final day of our week. Or our 2-week span here at MCF before we crown a new champion. I'll tell you who's in the lead right now, believe it or not. It's somebody who's just in the membership. But we'll talk about that in a minute. We got Marco Seppi with 58 points on the Stream Boss. And when you look at the champion of the membership gifting board, it is none other than Jet Li 44, who's been the top of the gifting board for 10 out of 12 weeks. So big shout outs to him. Now, haven't had that many streams, but this is one of the few live streams to get a chance to someone to try to take that title away from Jet Li, or for him to continue his streak. There is nobody on that board right now, on the gifting board, on our third live stream of the last 2 weeks. So there's a chance for someone to come and take that. Again, Marco Seppian still. I mean, he's got the hold on that Stream Boss for the last month or so. And Chill Pill, who is, of course, the champion, but not the leader right now. When it comes to the leader on that side of things, it is currently Jet Li 44, if I'm not mistaken, because he did drop some of the. Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry, it was not Jet Li. It is actually James Herr, who actually did it in the Streamlabs over Jet Li 44. So Jet Li's in second, right behind James Herr. We'll see who wins that battle. James Herr may be the Cash App King this week, here repping on the MCF main channel. And then there's also the overall leader on the board, which is Marissa Sparkle. You might have heard me shout her name out in the star level. Yeah, back in the star level right now. She is in first place in the last 2 weeks of our My Cowboy Family streams. So she may actually be the sponsor of the week. Although I will say Dwayne Broussard is about 5 back on her. You got a couple others in the mix there, Marco Seppian and others, Jet Li and others. So we'll see what happens as this goes on. But there's different ways of dropping the love. You saw Dwayne Broussard dropping it here in the chat, in the super chat. You also know there's that thanks button that he also used as well. We also have memberships, which let me shout out some people back in that membership, like JD from DC, who jumped back into that today. Big shout out to you. We got William Burney in the house, Tony Wimbish, and I think that is actually everybody for over the last handful of days that since our last stream. So big shout outs to you guys in the membership side and the thanks side, and in the live stream side tonight. We'll see what happens. Also, Like I said, there's those ways of dropping love. You can jump in the membership. You can gift memberships. But there's 4 ways you can kind of represent the Cash App.
Of course, you have the Cash App # MyCowboysFamily, the Venmo at My-Cowboys-Family, the regular PayPal link, and last but not least, the Streamlabs link lets your comment show up on screen just like a Super Chat would.
And as we did last time we were on stream, had the Star and Over Everything level membership, monthly jersey raffle. Big shout out to the winner. And again, every weekly winner, like the next winner here, whoever, if it's Marissa Sparkle, Dwayne Broussard, for the next Star level raffle for the month of August, at, basically at the beginning of September, you guys can earn a bonus entry in there as well. If you're the weekly winner, the sponsor of the week to be specific. Yeah, Marissa Sparkle might have 2 entries because she gets a win this week. We'll see what happens. Dwayne Broussard, he could have an entry in there, bonus entry. So, I know he's not in the Star level, but you can just get into that if you're the weekly winner. So there's another opportunity to win one of these great sewn and stitched jerseys we raffle off here once a month. So now that we're done with those introductions, let's talk about who's in the house with us to talk some Cowboy football tonight.
Of course. And the #1 Cowboy fan in Houston, Eastside Harold, what's up? A big mahalo. Mark Hosepian, aloha to you.
Big Mark.
Roland Rodriguez, all the way from South Texas. Shout out to you.
I was going to say Mark Hosepian's coffee. Literally finished the last of it, and we made it last as long as we could. Love it, but
you've been rationing the crap.
I've been trying not to drink it, but now it's all gone. But I loved it. We had years and years of Hawaiian coffee here. I appreciate that from the man Mark Hosepian, repping the Star of everything out there in Hawaii. Anyway, just want to interrupt.
Oh no, of course. Let me see you. Double R, what's up? Hello and hi. Ronan the Voice. Thanks for joining us here. Texas Twister. Stay safe out there on the road. Shout out to you.
Thank you, by the way. You said the best of the best.
Rolling back there. Skeptical fan always. Staying skeptical. And yes, the front office clownery unfortunately continues. You do have not so much of an update, but a slight reiteration of the updates there. Tyrone Church, what's up? Hello and hi. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Thanks for rocking with us. Of course, the top dog. Dwayne Broussard representing here. We have Dustin Roberts. What's up? Raymond Solis. Much love to you. Let me see. Lord Nova. Thanks for rocking with us right now. Godless Manitoban. Hey. Thanks for joining us all the way from Canada.
Yep.
The Great White North and Freedom First. Hey, good for you. You were first today. That's always a good feeling. So, the favorite flavors, I know I liked the macadamia vanilla or something.
Yeah,
I think you like that one too.
Yeah, that was the favorite, is the vanilla macadamia, and that was the best. And also the regular one too, the regular Hawaiian ones as well.
There was one of the coffee blends was really good. They're all good. The regular non-flavored ones.
I drank them all, even if I had some favorites over others. You know what I mean? Much love to Marco Sepian, and much love to Raul, who's giving his monthly message.
Member message, with the representation there.
Navy blue
11
crew style.
months.
Yeah. He said, good evening, MCF, and good evening to you, Raul. We're going to get to this one tonight here. It'd be a little quicker than you're used to with our recaps. Because like I said, we don't have much time to go live every single day anymore, unfortunately. We do make time 100% of the time. We're going to watch the games in real life or on the internet. It don't matter. We're always watching the Cowboy games. So, we're going to be doing that. But, the live streams have definitely become a lot harder to kind of do on the daily, so we kind of give you the wrap up once we know everything, more details and more insight to what's going on with the Cowboys, rather than just every day kind of repeating the same thing over again and boring you guys. We don't want to do that. So we want to make sure you guys get the up to date information and as accurately as possible. Over speedy.
Especially with CeEDEE Lamb not signed yet. I feel like every day we keep seeing more and more BS rumors surrounding that whole situation. So, and Mark, those little macadamia chocolates.
That's right.
Basically, I don't think they lasted longer than a week at most, and that's because we tried to ration them.
They would have been gone in like 2 days.
The kids descended on those like a pack of wild animals.
It was interesting to see that everything Mark sent here last time, gone within, could have been gone within like hours. So big shout out to Mark Hosepian, Seabass in the house, Texas Twister, even East Side. But appreciate you all here. Thank you.
Seabass. Hey, we need to touch base with you. I know we still need to do
like
a live stream.
Yeah, we got like 2 live streams with him. I know he says he's going to jump back in the Over Everything for the season ride that we're going to be on here. So, hopefully we get that done sooner or later. I know our live streams have been very, haphazard. So just, work with us and email-wise, we'll get something going for sure and get a couple streams here with the man, Seabass, in the house.
We got you, Seabass. So now with that said, let's go ahead and start touching on some of the Cowboy news. And I know, we have some Cowboy adjacent, NFL related news, but I did actually want to start it off with, I'm sorry, I think this is funny as heck. We just found out, like right before we went live, that there was some people trapped in an elevator in Dallas. And the fire department had to come, and they literally had to, like, open the roof of the elevator and have people crawl from the roof into, like, another elevator. It was a whole thing. And then it's like, wait, these weren't just, like, random people stuck in an elevator. They were Los Angeles Chargers players, along with some of their staff. Like, 15, 20 of them just stuck in an elevator. Got out, like, an hour ago or something like that.
Prepping for their game against the Cowboys in Dallas, tomorrow. So they're just getting out of an elevator as we speak here, the Chargers, and we will preview not necessarily the Chargers. I don't care about the Chargers. We'll preview what we want to look on about our Dallas Cowboys in tomorrow's game.
Yes,
we'll probably go over some of this again tomorrow with you. You'll hear maybe even some repeats, like in the sense of what I'm talking about now tonight. When it comes to the game, you'll hear me bring up tomorrow. Say, remember when I spoke about that last night? Here's what we need to look at when it comes to that in this game or on this play. Or on these plays, or on this series, or whatever it may be. How about on this drop by the man, Skeptical Fan, with a $2 holler? What do you get to say?
I'm here, and go Cowboys.
Hell yeah, man. He's checked in. Skeptical Fan. Appreciate you in that star level, of course. And again, everyone's really close to passing Marissa Sparkle, who's first place on that overall board with only basically tonight and tomorrow to go to see who wins that sponsor weekend, who gets that bonus entry to that raffle for the month of August. So we'll see what happens. But now as we get going, let's start with some just NFL news. A couple pieces of NFL news here about trades, moves, and announcements. So Commanders, the Washington Commanders, one of our own in our division here, they are trading away Jahan Dotson and a 2025 fifth round pick to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Ew.
They're going interdivision here. And the Eagles, they get Jahan Dotson in a fifth-round pick in 2025. The Commanders get a third-round pick from the Eagles in 2025 and 2 seventh-round picks, basically 2 undrafted. But it's really the big thing is that third-rounder, the Commanders giving up a fifth, and Jahan Dotson, who's supposed to be, he's the guy who led them. They had 3 receivers last year. And basically, one guy led with receptions, another guy led with yards. I think Jahan Dotson led with touchdowns. So these are the guys that they felt good in getting rid of. Dotson, former first-round pick, 84 catches and 11 touchdowns with 1,041 yards in 2 years in Washington. The key here is what I've heard is that there's no way they would actually be trading away someone like Jahan Dotson for so little into the same division without there actually being an issue with Jahan Dotson. So everyone's kind of saying, well, Dotson may not. There's something going on with him.
Yeah, it's enough. It's like right on that border of, again, enough reasons to move on from him without feeling bad about it. But he clearly has enough of an upside still that Philly felt like, hey, it's worth a shot.
Yeah. So either way, F the Commanders and F Philly. But the Jahan Dotson move is not necessarily really a big move for the Eagles. Some people will say that, but they give up a third-round pick. Keep that in mind to get him, basically. They got back a fifth, but they gave up that third. So we'll see how that plays out in the future. Now, after the Cowboy game last week, we played the Raiders, beat them, whatever. But the big thing is not many injuries. That's the great news for the Cowboys. But the Raiders decided to name their starting quarterback after that game, that performance. And I thought both quarterbacks did bad. I actually thought O'Connell did better than Minshew. The Raiders named Gardner Minshew as their starting quarterback. So Minshew did enough to win that spot. Coach Antonio Pierce informed the quarterbacks of his decision right after, on the day after the Cowboy game, between Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. So again, he's going to be the opening starting quarterback for the Raiders in Vegas in the opener against the Chargers, our opponent, on September 8th. That's their opening game for the Raiders. Now, a couple suspensions out there, NFL-wise. Zay Jones from the Cardinals got a 5-game suspension. He violated the NFL's personal conduct policy for domestic battery. Oh. So we had known something like that was going on in the background. It's official now. He's going to forfeit $392,000 of his base salary and $100,000 per game of active bonuses. He also, the $650,000 salary guarantee on his 1-year, $2.25 million contract has voided because he broke conduct, policy conduct there. So, so the point here, personal conduct policy, when you break that, you lose your guarantees. So not only did he lose basically about $900,000, but there's no guarantee left. There's not any of that $650,000 guarantee of his contract for him if he gets cut. So Zay Jones, he's a guy that's now maybe, who knows, cut and not playing at least 5 games of the season. So that's the update on him. We also have an update on free agent. Yes, I said free agent cornerback J.C. Jackson. I remember 4 or 5 years ago from the Patriots, we were like, can the Cowboys get him? Cornerback like J.C. Jackson was one of the leading interception guys here in the last handful of years. He was suspended for the first game of the 2024 season. He also violated the personal conduct policy, but again, he's not signed with any contract. He's currently a free agent right now. He is still eligible to sign and participate in all preseason or training camp activities. His suspension, though, will take effect as of the roster reduction. The day of the cuts to 53 players is when his actual suspension will begin, and then he'll miss that first week. Even if he's if he's not picked up by a team, or he is, he will not be playing week 1 for any team in the NFL. So J.C. Jackson also, now I don't know why he got 1 and Zay Jones got 5. I'm assuming there's a lot more proof, a lot worse things Zay Jones did than J.C. Jackson. The last round of NFL news, which definitely touches on Cowboy information, news, and definitely Cowboy relevant. Randy Gregory. Randy Gregory, man, we tried so much to keep him in the Cowboys. Yeah,
hasn't he been
build him up.
missing in action?
Yeah, we built him up. We held on to him for years. No cost of anything to us. We held on to him, trying to make him something out of that, that second round pick. With all the weed issues he had, then weed's legalized, and he's kind of back in the system. We helped him through that. He goes to Denver. We know the deal. He went to San Francisco, and then on the practice squad, play a little bit there. Now he went to the Buccaneers, disappeared, and according to all sources right now, Randy Gregory, a former second-round pick of the Cowboys, and remember, if you look at how many games he played in his career, he was suspended more games than he played in his career. He is reportedly done with football. Okay. Randy Gregory said, in other words, I don't know if he's retiring, but he's not going to play. He's done playing for now. So whatever that means, I hope the best for him. But that don't sound good. But all the other issues he had, all of a sudden he's out of football. So the best for Randy Gregory. But, man, it's a wasted talent there from him. Now, a guy we had on our team last year, and a guy we were talking about, maybe we get this guy as our cornerback, Kalen Carson, number 41, a rookie, has done so well. I don't think we even cared about Stephon Gilmore this entire offseason. I know we didn't care about him this offseason. And even during training camp, it would have been an option if we had no other corners. But Kalen Carson did so well, kicked off Deshaun right off the team. We got Andrew Booth on the team. Yep. So that's our 4th and 5th guys right there.
Yeah, Plus, Cowboys are feeling much more confident about things going into it.
So no Stephon Gilmore. And he finally got signed, though. Yeah, 5-time Pro Bowl cornerback Stephon Gilmore reached an agreement on a 1-year deal worth up to $10 million.
We're never going to pay him even a quarter of a fraction.
Yeah, he got signed with the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings signed him. All right, I think they just lost one of their cornerbacks. I know one of them was what passed away in a car accident, a rookie, but they signed Stephon Gilmore to a $10 million contract. All right, that's the most he can get, but $7 million of that is guaranteed. So he's getting $7 million. If they cut him, he gets $7 million.
That's insanity.
Ex-Patriot, ex-Cowboy. He is back with defensive coordinator Brian Flores. So back with the Patriot style there. So again, we'll see if that rejuvenates him for one more year. Good luck to him. But he ain't a Cowboy. It don't matter. He's the Vikings now. Now, I do want to say that's kind of the NFL news. I want to just touch in as we kind of look at training camp and the Cowboys for a minute. We talk about all these deals. We're going to talk about CeeDee Lamb in a minute. But I did want to make a comment about a statement the Cowboys released about a fire that occurred in Oxnard in the Cowboys training camp complex. Quote, there was a fire emergency in one of the guest rooms in the afternoon of the team's hotel in Oxnard, California. The emergency was contained to one room that was empty at the time, and there were no injuries. Cowboys thank the Oxnard Fire Police Department, the Oxnard Fire Department and the Oxnard Police Department for their quick response and reaction to the situation. So just in case you heard about that, you'll see a little video of the fire trucks here in a minute. In case you're worrying about all that, everything's good, everyone's safe.
Thank goodness.
Which is great news there. There's nothing worse than could have been worse.
Yeah, that could have gone way worse.
Yeah, so that's great news on that side of things. Also, when we talk about all these moves, these deals being made, guys quitting, retiring, whatever it is, guys getting signed like Stephon Gilmore, what about our wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb? We know he's not in Dallas. He basically held out all of Oxnard training camp, which was a lot different than last year with Zach Martin, who held out about half of training camp until the Joneses broke and gave him what he wanted and gave him what he deserved. Same thing's going on with CeeDee, except now we're double that time up here. CeeDee Lamb, guys, continuing to hold out for a new contract. We know the last offer we heard was right under $33 million, so figure 32 point something, basically a little more than A.J. Brown. He's closer to A.J. Brown and that number than he would be to Justin Jefferson, which we know. We all can be honest. Look yourself in the mirror. We all know CeeDee Lamb is closer to Justin Jefferson than A.J. Brown. So I have no issue. I mean, I have an issue with him not playing with the Cowboys right now, not being in the camp. But I know it's business, and the Joneses don't understand business. So the Joneses are the ones to blame here. Yes, he might want $34.5 million, as he deserves. Why don't Jerry Jones, why does he have to charge $13 for a goddamn glass of water? Like, why can't he charge $7? You guys understand what I'm trying to say? So if you blame CeeDee about not signing for he should just take what we give him. Nah, that's not the way it works, buddy. And you're not gonna get you're not gonna take what you're given in your job. You're gonna try to fight for what you deserve. And CeeDee Lamb's fighting for what he deserves, and we all know and see it. No Cowboy receiver in the history of the Cowboys, in the history of our receivers, has done as well as CeeDee Lamb has done in the first 4 years of a rookie contract, off being signed and drafted by the Cowboys. There's no player in the history of the Cowboys that have done better as a receiver than CeeDee Lamb. So no matter what anyone says, it's just stupid if you don't say he should get at least $34.5 million, at least, to Justin Jefferson's $35 million a year. So CeeDee Lamb put out a video. I posted the video out there. If you watched it, it's in the short section. Basically, it starts off with him saying, quote, "Still waiting on that phone call. But until then, we grind." And at the end of it, he says, "I control what I can control, and that's to be the best version of me." End quote. That's from CeeDee Lamb. So now I know you have some information.
Yes.
On some comments from Jerry Jones and others. I thought you had some comments on these some of the, what's the Cowboy front office saying about CeeDee Lamb? Because I'll tell you one last. I guess you'll say your thing, and then I'm going to give you the last piece of information that is vital to the CeeDee Lamb's contract situation and what's the next step in this. I do have an update. But first, tell me what the Joneses wanted to say about this.
Yeah, so Jerry's latest comments on the contract situation there with CeeDee saying, quote, "The facts are that I believe we'll come together. I don't want to speak for him. That's what I'm trying not to do. But we wouldn't have offered him what we offered him if we didn't want him to be here." So if you guys remember, right, that secret source that leaked that the Cowboys offered CeeDee $33 million a year. I think, baby, you were the one who brought up the fact that, yeah, okay, we know the total, average per year, but you don't know the length of the contract. You don't know, any signing bonuses. You don't know, all the other extra details that make up the contract. Just saying that he would have gotten around $33 million a year doesn't really get into the details, actual total amount.
But also, you got to remember that even with all those things, even with all those background and guarantees and all that stuff, CeeDee's not going to take $2.5 million less per year than Justin Jefferson.
Exactly.
That is almost disrespectful. You give him something closer to 34. That's what the business. Again, they want to start low. They should start lowballing him at the beginning of the offseason. Why they started now to lowball him? That's bad management. That's bad front office bullshit there, and it adds to it when you hear. When I'm hearing this, he's just saying, he's worth it. We wouldn't have given him $32.8 million if we didn't think he was worth it. I mean, how much would have given Justin Jefferson? How much would you give A.J. Brown? Because A.J. Brown got 32. So you tell me,
I think,
Joneses.
Again, I think it was just us, talking amongst ourselves. But even you had pointed out, and please, correct me if I'm wrong, but you had said, where CeeDee needs to land and should land, he should be closer to the Justin Jeffersons of the world.
Right. Not the A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
Just be honest about this.
So Let's see how it ends up working
Jerry
out.
Jones,
but that was Jerry's commentary there.
To me, it's still more of the same old. Jerry Jones is bullshitting. Jerry Jones saying it's on the player. I see some of the fans that are in the shorts that I post, and they're writing their comments. They're like, CeeDee Lamb, just take it or trade him. Trade CeeDee Lamb. He's a piece of crap. Like, trade Jerry. Why don't you guys talk about Jerry Jones and say, hey, Jerry Jones, why don't you pay him what he's worth? Hey, Jerry Jones, why don't you cut down your goddamn ticket fees? Why don't you cut down your fucking your refreshment fees, your hot dog fees? Just cut down your parking fees. Like, that needs to happen before we tell any players to cut down their costs. I'm just saying. So Jerry playing the games. Now I will end it with this. Update that came out literally today. NFL Game Day kickoff. All right, before this evening's football games on NFL Network. Mm-hmm. When it comes to receivers awaiting deals, and CeeDee's not the only one, the plan is, and today's Friday going into Saturday, CeeDee Lamb and the Dallas Cowboys front office are expected to talk over this weekend. So what does that mean?
I hope it's a short weekend.
That means that Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, guess what they're going to do? I'm going to tell you what. They're going to pay CeeDee Lamb the money he is asking for. Deserve it, whatever you want to call it. He wants 34 and a half. This is what we're going to see this weekend. I don't see the Cowboys front office waiting too much longer to not give him what he's worth. I do not understand holding back this game that they play since the offseason. What were they offering him in the offseason? $28 million a year? I mean, should he have just taken that?
Baby, we just can't understand it because we just don't have super awesome business brains like Jerry does.
I'm just saying, it makes no sense to me. I understand if we were offering him 32.8 or 9, right after AJ Brown got paid. All right, I could understand that to an extent. I don't understand how this front office can make sense of it. But they're meeting this weekend, which means it ain't CeeDee Lamb meeting. He's waiting for the phone call to ring. It's the Joneses saying, we got to come to the table now with a more realistic number. And this time, they don't have much more to go. They're going to be $33.5 million? Is that what they're going to say? Are they going to increase the guarantees that more than Justin Jefferson? That could sell it right there, right? But probably not. We know these guys are cheap. So when it comes down to it, it's going to be basically Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones admitting they're wrong here. Every time they meet with CeeDee Lamb, it's them admitting they're wrong. And CeeDee Lamb is holding all the cards right now. It's the same thing that Dak will do. Dak has done and will do. Same thing that Micah can do and will do. Mm-hmm. It's because the Joneses allow it to go this way. Not because the players are greedy, because the players are getting paid what they should get paid in their position, in their market, in their receiver position, market. They're not. It's not about how many Super Bowls you won. If you still believe that way, probably not watching football is the best thing for you, because football is changed when it comes to money. It's about what you can do for me, not if you can win a Super Bowl. And hey, don't blame these players. Blame the Joneses. Their winning is not one of their building blocks of this team. It's competitiveness. So maybe Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, they just want to be competitive when it comes to making a deal and making a back and forth negotiation until they finally just give in like they did with every single big contract the Cowboys have had since Stephen Jones took over, back when Des Bryant was gone and Witten retired. That's what Stephen Jones been doing since then. Big mistakes in my mind. Anybody have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, we actually have a few different opinions here. So first, Drums and Cowboys said, I've always maintained you can't reset the market at 3 different positions. One of the big 3 isn't coming back. Just watch. Remember, guys, we're not out to reset the market when it comes to at least Dak Prescott's possible restructure. Just throwing that out there.
Well, again, Dak, listen, baby, but because of those other deals that have come through, there's no way he's not going to reset the market. How can he get paid less than a $55 million, what was his name, Jordan Love? What are we talking about? He's right. Who said that? Because
Drums and Cowboys.
Drums and Cowboys is right. Listen, we know we're going to be missing at least one of these guys. Will it be Micah eventually? Will it be Dak after this year? I'm just saying, but out of all the guys, CeeDee's the last guy I can see us wanting to move on from after drafting him. After Jerry gave him this number 88 and forced it. CeeDee wanted 10. Jerry's like, get number 88. My old friend just died from Arkansas, teammate number 88. 88 means a lot for this team. And now he's going to, after 4 years, or, he's going to be like, we're fifth year. Now he's going to be like, no, we got to trade him because he's not taking $1 million, less than we want. This is bad management, Plain and simple. I understand. When you draft well, you got to pay a lot. You got to let a guy go or two. I get it. But the management of this front office is the problem, not that we drafting these great players. Thank you, Will McClay. The reason we're having bad management. Keeping all these guys or not is one thing, but waiting until the last second to make these deals try to work and squeeze it in there and still get shit on. We're not making it. Nobody's going to make it. None of the Cowboy fans are going to be happy when this is over. He's still going to get his 34, 35. He's still going to get what he deserves, because if you don't get it here, he's going to get it somewhere else. And the Joneses are going to either lose the player, completely after this year. If he plays on the $18 million contract tag, then that's fine. Then he's gone next year. And this is what the Joneses will do. Does they really want to do that? So and then they're going to ruin any relationship or chance you'll have with that player. Or you sign them for what they deserve. And, you roll the dice with like every single player. But, you got Dak, you got Micah. Probably won't be able to keep all three of them. I get it. But is CeeDee Lamb the guy you want to get rid of? Really? Like, bad management by the front office. Plain and simple. Case closed. At least I can't be convinced any different.
So, let me go ahead and hit up a few more comments. So, Rolando said, Jerry's going to sign CeeDee this week at the Star, so all the sports networks and reporters can be present.
I believe that.
That's Jerry getting into the news.
I believe that.
So, Combine the 602, hopefully I said that right, said Dallas Cowboy fans are the only ones that matter if you're talking about respect.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. We should get some respect on but you know where it starts with? Not with CeeDee Lamb or Dak Prescott or Micah. It starts with Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones.
Sorten said, give him all that money and leave nothing left for a Super Bowl-type team. Big Dog also throwing in there, the Joneses came in, traded the best running back in the NFL at the time to the Vikings, Herschel Walker. We got some picks and other players, and after that, we won 3 Super Bowls with that trade. Yes, that is because of Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, thank you.
Jerry Jones has been the unfortunate general manager of this franchise for literally since then, and he's done jack shit with it.
The thing that Jerry Jones did was he allowed Jimmy Johnson to make the trade of Herschel to get all these picks and players. And who made those picks? Who got those players? Who made those draft picks? Jimmy Johnson. The only thing Jerry Jones ever did was sign Deion Sanders. Outside of that, he ain't do shit.
And the Herschel Walker trade, that was Jimmy, in case you guys are wondering. He's the one who said...
Jimmy Johnson was the one that pulled the string on that. He's the one that constructed that deal with the Vikings. And Jerry Jones had allowed Jimmy Johnson to be the GM and make those decisions. Yep. So that's the reason why we won those Super Bowls, because he had a good guy at the helm. If we do the same thing now, and Jerry Jones, if we did the same thing back then with the Herschel Walker trade, and Jerry Jones was handling it, you know what would have happened? No Super Bowls. Yep. It would have been the worst trade in history instead of the best trade in history. I'm just letting you know, it would have been a fucking implosion.
How many other team owners do you see generally managing their team? Because
very few,
that's
if any.
The point.
None.
It is not. It's Jerry's money in the sense that he owns the team, but Jerry acts like this is his personal, like, in my pocket money.
Yeah, guys, it's his money. You got to use the cap money. That's kind of the way it is. And if you don't spend, you don't win. Other teams spend. Most of the time they win. Sometimes you lose. We're barely spending, and we're winning a little bit. We ain't never gonna win. If you know what I mean, that's Super Bowl without actually taking some real risks.
And Jerry doesn't care because we continue to be a financially successful franchise for him.
Only team in the 10 billions or over in the whole world. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, Jerry Jones, as long as we make the playoffs, as long as we stay competitive, that's all Jerry Jones wants. He doesn't want a Super Bowl. He'd like it, but he doesn't need it. He needs us to be competitive.
And don't take our word for it. You guys can go listen to him.
Yep. Jerry Jones said it himself.
Kicking off training camp this year saying just that.
Yeah, he said it himself, guys, that winning, competition is more important than winning. For Jerry Jones and his building blocks. It's 4 fucking building blocks. And none of them is winning. It's competitiveness and money and all this other shit. Nothing to do with winning. It's a brand for him. It's not an actual team for Jerry.
No, big mahalo to the man Mark Hosepian. Yes. Sorry about that little mini rant there before we hit up your $5 holler.
He dropped that 5 on it. And I know one thing. Mark's getting closer to that top spot once again. What did the man Mark Hosepian have to say about it?
I'm not a fan of Dak, but with the way that the salary cap is going up, we can sign the big 3. We also signed a second huge defensive tackle. So imagine if we had Hankins in there as well. I feel like had we had Hankins, you wouldn't have seen the Cowboys make these types of moves because unfortunately, we also tend to get kind of complacent, right? So I'm thankful. It sounds like the Zimmer influence is already being felt as far as what's being told to the front office, like, hey, this is the type of personnel we want. This is the type of personnel we want to bring into the office. can we make it happen? I mean, Jerry's clearly forgotten all about our offense this training camp as far as any signings. But at least we can give them some credit for the moves that have been made on the defense, and specifically the D-line. It had to be addressed, and it's being addressed.
No,
as of now, it's not. I have zero complaints there. I'm actually extremely happy, and I know you have more details on that. We'll get to it when we get to it. Sure. But I want to shout out Mark Hosepian's other $5 holler.
By the way, with both of those, he is now in third place behind Dwayne Broussard and Marissa Sparkle on the overall board. A couple more drops by him, he'll be in first place.
That's right. And I'm going to throw this out here real quick. Man, you guys in the chat forget very quickly about receiver by committee and how not well that worked out for us. But let me hit up Mark's comment. He said, the 2 defensive tackles we got are huge improvements from what we had. But they still would not start for most teams, so we still need help. Jerry Jones is a dick. So, hey.
That's right. He ain't wrong.
While I don't necessarily disagree, this is one of the few times where I think it makes sense. These are the types of moves that we should have been doing from the jump, right? We're not breaking the bank, but we just added significant depth and quality players. Again, if you're looking for a D-line starter, some guy that's going to be out there from the first snap to the last, I have a Micah Parsons for you. He is that guy, right? In the sense of, like, he is going to be one of our more heavy-hitting defensive linemen in general. Everyone else is on a rotational basis. Okay, by that I mean that they can and will be moved in and out depending on the down, depending on the circumstance, depending on the scheme and the matchup. But for what we got these guys for, I am personally very happy and excited to see how it works out, especially with that Mike Zimmer influence. That is obviously the bigger deciding factor for me here. I think that Zimmer will find a way to maximize each one of our guys, and we've already started to see some of that just in training camp, right?
Another one, by the way. I think it is, right?
That's right.
The man Marco Seppian once again strikes second place now on the overall board, but more importantly, what did he say with that $5 holler?
The 2, let me see. I'm sorry. I actually read that one before I read the other one.
Oh, you skipped one.
My
so
bad.
A lot of
so it's okay. So we'll go back because it's all about these same D-line guys. And then I want your thoughts, baby, because I already gave mine. But he said, are the 2 defensive tackles that we got going to be pose? Talking to other experts, I gauge a guy on how many other teams player X would start on, and most teams wouldn't start the other 2 guys. So basically...
No, I'm going to answer all 3 of his comments.
All right.
But you have your thoughts on this?
I mean, I shared most of them. I said, even though they might not be considered, quote-unquote, starters, I would say that they are valuable additions to the D-line.
No, I just want to make sure.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, we have a couple guys we raised. We have a new guy I got to speak about tonight.
I know.
Which we're going to get to him in a moment. But I do want to kind of... We're done with the CeeDee Lamb discussion. We have the update. They're still holding out. They're speaking this weekend. CeeDee Lamb and the Joneses. We'll see what happens with them. But the Joneses, this clown fucking show, which I'm going to take out of our screen here, because I don't want to see him no more. Let me just go through Mark's comments. I do want to touch on them real quickly because I agree a lot of what you said, but also there's a couple differences I do have there. I do agree with Mark on the salary cap. There is a way. I know Drums and Cowboys made a good point. It would strain our roster. I know Sworton said the same thing. It would strain our roster paying all these guys all the top dollar value money. But this is the way the Joneses run their fucking corporation, right? It's about drafting them. They don't want to pay nobody else outside the team. Like other teams, they got 2, 3, 4 guys making shitloads of money. Look at the Niners. How many top guys they got? And they're paying them top money without any fucking negotiation issues. They just give them the money, and they say, now win us a Super Bowl. And they've been there twice.
Yeah, and by the way, the Rams might be very deep in the hole, but you know what they got out of it? They got a fucking Super Bowl.
They went to one. And then they went with a whole different team. They then won the Super Bowl. They've been to one with a whole different team. Listen, but here's the thing, though. The teams were... Teams have to be smart with the money, and that's the problem with this front office, guys. If we had a Howie Roseman, this would be figured out already. And I know we'd all like whatever they would, because Howie Roseman knows how to move the money around, pay the guys the right way with the right contracts, and make the guys happy, the players happy, make the fans happy. If they have to back out of shit, they somehow get out of it, right? With Wentz, they paid him big money, got out of it. That's what the way you're supposed to run an NFL front office. Howie Roseman, I hate the Eagles, but I do like Howie Roseman. I would trade a couple players for Howie Roseman right now and to be the GM of our team. So that's what I mean. I know we can do it. But the Cowboys front office, and that's what I'm trying to say with Mark, I agree we could do it. And that's why I also agree with Drums and Cowboys, because we can't do it. Our front office is too stupid to do it. We can, but we won't. You feel me? So I agree with Mark, and I agree with Drums and Cowboys. So that's what the reality is. We ain't signing the big three. I don't think we will. Even with the cap opening or whatever, Jerry Jones will always play the fucking cap card and then get out of it somehow and try to just convince the fans that the players are being greedy. Now the defense, and it comes to Mark's comment here about the two defensive tackles where we just got. Listen, we have two guys. We talked about what's his name? Yeah, I already forgot his name.
Phillips.
Yeah, Jordan Phillips from last week. We also got Carl Lawson, who's an edge rusher, a little different, and then we just picked up Linval Joseph. Funny, by the way, Linval Joseph and Jordan Phillips are two guys that I've been screaming. I'd say the last 4 years. Or about 4 years ago, you should go back my old videos. I was talking about why don't we bring these guys in, like when they were at the top of their game. They're not at the top of their game anymore, but can they still provide value? I talked a lot about Carl Lawson the other day. I talked a lot about Jordan Phillips, how I do think it's gonna help our team. But and again, I don't think we could do. I know you said that's what you said. Day one, we could have done these. No, we couldn't. We could not do these day one because these would cost too much. Not for these players. For the players that were going on day one, I mean, these guys would be asking for a lot more. So I understand why we got these guys here now. But if we had got these guys the first weeks, it would have been overpaying for these guys. We would have been overpaying for these players. And like I said,
this is where you better record this if you want to, but this is where I do give our front office some credit. These are usually the types of moves and deals that we excel at, similar to how we tend to draft really well in like those middle rounds, right? Those third, fourth, fifth rounders that end up, outperforming their draft rank, so to speak, right?
Yeah, these are the types of moves that end up,
yes.
The late pickups, free agents usually work out for us in some way. Help us.
Like I said, I appreciate the attentiveness to detail on these defensive signings. It would be nice to get more than the bullshit we've been getting when it comes to some of the offensive deals we've been waiting for.
But I want to stick with Mark's comment about the defense. And the thing about the defense is this real quickly. I'm not, we're going to move on here. But these are not posed, in my opinion. Who knows? Maybe they can't. Maybe they are posed. But I don't think they're I don't think they're Dontari posed. I think that both these guys are going to help us with veteran leadership. We have a very young interior defense. They're going to help us with rotational play, which if you play these two old guys, let's just say call them older guys, you play these two guys all the time as starters, you got a problem. I agree with what Mark's saying. Most teams won't start these two defensive tackles. That's correct. But for a rotation, which is what, and you said this, baby, and I agree with you here, what Zimmer wants, he will get the most out of these older, I was saying they're not even old, just older guys that cannot play as much. He will use them because Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, who do they want starting? The guys they drafted, Mozzie Smith and Osa Odigizua. The Cowboys will never bring anybody in better than those two guys. I'm convinced, and the reason is because it's kind of like Kamala Harris didn't want to bring in Beyonce yesterday. I'm just saying that she didn't want somebody to outshine her. It's the same thing as Jerry doesn't want to bring in someone who's going to outshine Mozzie Smith, his first round pick last year. He don't want somebody to outshine Osa Odigizua, our starting and up and coming guy for the last 3 years. He will not. He will bring in older guys that were better than both these guys that will help them kind of learn the ropes and maybe give them some good depth and balance things out better on the defensive line for Zimmer. So this is a good pickup, but you understand? You guys understand what I'm saying? I mean, it's kind of like we're not going to bring in Aaron Donald. You know what I'm saying? If we could, we wouldn't, because we got Mozzie and we got Osa, and that's more important than Jerry Jones than bringing in the better players and saying, okay, we got to take an L on some of these guys. They'd rather bring in older guys that can help teach and use in rotation and say, hey, look who's still propped up as the starters. Osa. Mozzie, and I truly believe the Jones, after doing this for 8 years, guys, the Joneses, this is what they do. And if it's not Jerry, it's Stephen Jones. Guarantee it. So, again, like Mark finished on his last comment, we got the 2 defensive tackles are huge improvements, but they still wouldn't start for most teams. And that's why I'm just reiterating, yes, Jerry Jones is a dick. Stephen Jones is a dick. But again, the reason that it's not that's why I like these moves. Similar reasons you said, baby. We do a good job at this stage of free agent signing. And it's the best you're going to get with the Jones are going to bring. They're never going to bring in guys that are better than Osa and Mozzie if they have their minds intent on starting them. These are their guys. And they will start them over any other guys out there.
And I know we always like to say the pie is a lie because we do understand how that pie is sliced up. Mm-hmm. But we also acknowledge that the way to make that pie work for everyone is you make these types of moves, right? These are the types of moves that let you have the money to spend on your most important big name players. Anyway.
And now listen. Now we got Mozzie on a rookie contract. He's entering his second year. I see, what is that? Cam in the 60, what is that? Cam in the 602. Right?
Yeah.
Mozzie's actually, is actually doing something in camp. And that's one thing I want to reiterate. I know Mark has been doubting the Mozzie situation, but I do like what Mozzie's been doing. He's getting off the ball faster. He's playing better. And unfortunately, let's go to the situations that happened this week in training camp really quickly. And it was only really 2 days, 3 days. It was a walkthrough day and then the final day of training camp. And I'll just show you this real quick. You want to know about Mozzie? What was he up to?
Oh, you're showing us Mozzie right now.
Well, here he is. He was running out there on the walkthrough day, which was the Tuesday practice. He was running out there, running through just some sprint drills with Micah and others, just going over some stuff. As you can see there, who else is in there? Mozzie's in the middle there. You got Osa.
I would say, I thought it was Osa there.
Yeah, Osa, Mozzie, and him, and they're all doing these sprints here, just kind of getting worked through here, and trying to. Just kind of get now. Here's the fire that occurred there at camp. So, anyways,
but Mozzie has a great opportunity in front of him if he can seize it with both hands.
Yes.
He can do something here, and like you said, since he's shown improvement, right? He didn't just wake up one day and turn into a freaking Pro Bowler, but he looks already so much better than he did last year. I am positive that he'll continue to grow and develop, especially now that it seems that under Zimmer, maybe something is going to look better.
He's put the healthy weight back. That's the important thing. He didn't take down, he didn't lose the weight, like in a way where it was actually impeding his ability to kind of control the line of scrimmage there. So he was becoming Dontari Poe. So Mozzie, I wanted to reiterate, I showed you that little clip of Mozzie doing some of those sprints because he did have that allergic scare that kept him out of the Raider game. Remember that, guys? So he did not go to Vegas. He stayed in Oxnard. And when practice hit the field, when they hit the field in practice, Monday was off. Tuesday they practiced. It was just a walkthrough. They had Mozzie running, doing extra time after practice to run with Osa and Micah Parsons. Mozzie says it was less a peanut allergy and more closely a reaction to something irregular that was in some of the milk he drank. Very unfortunate there, scary. So he said it caught him off guard, but he's had allergic reactions before, and he said, quote, "I can't panic, especially when it has to do with your airways," end quote. So I know you have more stuff on that.
Yeah, I have his direct quote as well.
We'll get back on Mozzie in a minute, but I just want to throw that out there. As far as injuries and situations, we know off the Raider game, he was not there. Allergic reaction, but as you saw, he's back at wind sprints, and he's back in practice, which is good news. They had a walkthrough mock game, as you saw, a little walkthrough session there, where DeMarvion Overshown with a hip issue and Brandon Cooks with a knee issue were working off of the sideline in the resistance cords. And we know about Brandon Cook's situation. Yeah. We know Overshown, he played a pretty decent game there against the Raiders, but they held him out of the first walkthrough practices just for replenishment stuff here. It's not any issues, but when you look at Overshown, he has a hip pointer, is what they're calling it.
Okay.
Minor issues not threatening any regular season availability. So that's great news for DeMarvion Overshown, number 13.
Yeah, it sounds like we're just being extra cautious with both of these guys.
They're in training camp for these preseason stuff. And then Brandon Cooks, knee soreness. We knew that. Out there working with Britt Brown. But no knee sleeve, no knee brace.
Okay.
Great news. This is all precautionary.
Very positive.
Good news there. By the way, Kalen Carson, number 41, missed the preseason game against the Raiders. I don't know why is he out there? What's going on? Nobody even said anything about him. You know why he missed it? Because he had a wisdom tooth extraction.
Ouch.
But the rookie, he's making his team. He's our fourth corner. I'm sorry. You got to prove to me he ain't our fourth corner. cornerback, and Andrew Booth played a great game. But number 41, our rookie, Kalen Carson, I told that, Mark, I hope you were here the other day, but I'm going to say it again. I love the 4 rookies we took in the 3 rounds, and Kalen Carson so far. These are my guys. And Ryan Flournoy also did great as a receiver in the 6th round. So, what is that, 6 guys out of the 9? That's pretty good right now as far as the first fresh breath of fresh air we're getting from these guys. So, Kalen Carson missed the Raider game because of wisdom tooth extraction, but he's back at practice, looking good, and he's going to play against the Chargers. Cooper Beebe. And I want to make sure, actually, I show this video again because fuck it, why not? This was the following day. You showed the walkthrough. You see the fire. But then we had Cooper Beebe and Brock Hoffman splitting first-team reps in the walkthrough. And, of course, throughout this week, you see here Beebe with the snaps. Mm-hmm. He was getting the majority of snaps this week. So we're getting closer and closer. This is what we're seeing. We're seeing Beebe take over the spot of center from Brock Hoffman.
And doing it organically, which I like. Like you said, he had to go in there and even fight for his spot, and he's just been slowly taking it over by playing better and doing better.
Yep. And we're just watching here, just some videos. Again, this is going to be the video from second to last practice. We'll show you the last practice as well. I'm not going to really go along with it. Just watch it for your enjoyment as you try to hear what I'm saying here. But what a play! I got to say that. Brooks, our 4th receiver, right behind Tolbert. Man, he is shined in this camp. I'm telling you. So, by the way, Brandon Aubrey, we know his field goal that he hit of 66 yards tied. I thought it broke a record. Tied a record. We know it don't really count either because it is preseason. But, you said this during the game, baby, it was actually going to be good from 72 yards away. Which means that the Cowboys, all the Cowboys have to do right now to try to attempt a 72-yard field goal, which is almost going to, he probably won't make it.
Yeah.
But the Cowboys have to have the ball on their own 45-yard line. And then that ball, so we're on our own 45, we take a 72-yard attempt. Because when you snap that ball, you know where that ball hits? On our own 38 when the holder puts it down. That's a long way to go. On our own 38, the ball is going to be hit from his foot, and he's got to get across the other goal post.
It's just
that's insane,
scary,
right?
To think about in a good way and a bad way. Scary, like, holy crap, how is that even possible in some ways, right? But on the other hand, I really hope this doesn't somehow inspire McCarthy to, maybe test the limit of Brandon Butter Aubrey's.
The only time you can test it is before a half or before the end of a game. That's it. If you do it during any kind of play in the second quarter, first quarter, you're giving the ball back at the 38. That's idiotic, and that's giving away points. So, yeah, if it's a last-second thing or end of the half thing, kick it from 72 if you have to. That's fine. That's better than a Hail Mary, right? I mean, would you rather see Brandon Aubrey try to kick a 68-yard field goal, or you rather Hail Mary it? Like, at this point, I'd rather see Brandon Aubrey go for it, right?
Well, no offense, but yeah, because
Brooks,
Hail Marys,
again.
Statistically speaking, there's a reason called the Hail Mary. Probably not going to get it.
Brooks
Very likely to not get it.
Brooks burnt Diggs there. I just wanted to say that. Yeah, but I agree.
Okay. But
I agree with you.
At least Aubrey, the chances of him hitting are far and away much better. So, yeah, go with the bigger chance of the guaranteed 3 than the, barely there chance of the Hail Mary.
I want to say guaranteed 3. That's still a hard field goal. But
I said the more. Okay.
Oh, no. Okay. What I'm trying to say is that if you're kicking it from 65 yards, it's far from guaranteed. But we know he can make it. He made it from 66. He could have made it from 72. 1 out of 15.
So I said almost guaranteed.
I know. Well, one out of 20 chances. I wouldn't say that's almost guaranteed, but I would say that is a possibility. If most kickers don't, there's not even a thought about it. You know what I'm saying? To try to win the game there.
Better than the 1 in 1,000 chance of the Hail Mary actually working.
Exactly, for sure. Better odds of the field goal kick than a long.
I'm not much of a gambler, but I think I'll take those odds.
Yeah, I'll take those odds over the Hail Mary odds. Now, as you're seeing here, some of the practice, when you figure out the 53-man roster, which is coming up next week, basically next Tuesday or something, which we'll probably have to go live for before the actual announcement. So we give you our little prediction here. We've been pretty accurate about things. But when you figure out the 53-man roster projections, there's a tweak on the injured reserve rule. Remember that, guys. Teams can designate 2 players at the final cutdown as IR return guys. No longer requiring 2 guys to be on the roster for 1 day. So, who you think is the guy that's going to fall in the mix? I think Chuma Edoga, who's going to miss a couple months. He's a guy you place as an IR guy next to his name, and you still get to place a player in that. It's not going to take up a roster spot of the 53.
Just reminding everybody, he had that unfortunate toe injury that's expected to keep him out for at least 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, so at least we're hearing it could be 2 months.
Yeah.
So
that tracks really well with what you're saying now.
I will say Chuma Edoga makes the team, but not on the 53. He makes it on the injured list, which is allowed. 2 spots allowed for major injuries that keep you out for a couple months. Chuma Edoga is probably one of those guys. Now, McCarthy, really quickly, he talked about Brandon Cooks. When they got back, and he did the walkthroughs or whatever, the next day in practice, after this walkthrough, Brandon Cooks departed Oxnard. But it was for a personal matter. And he's missed the last 2 practices.
Oh.
So, yeah, but it was okay, because McCarthy added it was for, quote, a positive personal matter. So maybe maybe a dad?
I was going to say, hopefully he's maybe having a baby.
Yeah, so that's the update.
That way Brandon Aubrey had to rush out of the first preseason
out of the game. Yep, his wife gave birth. So now McCarthy said it was a positive personal matter. Figured no need to practice. He's probably working on that soreness anyways. You can see the last day of practice. This is it. Last day of Oxnard training camp practice. And, let him go because, not going to put in the work now, going to get him back and ready to go after whatever good thing happened to him happened. And you can see some guys out in that field. There's Overshone working on the resistance cords. I do want to talk about number 98. You don't see him here? That's our newly signed defensive tackle, Jordan Phillips. All right? Jordan Phillips, who looks like a nose tackle. He's like 340, 6'6". You know what he was brought here to play, though? Not nose tackle. To play the 3-tech.
Okay.
Which, by the way, there's Trey Lance. Boom. Well, that's, yeah. And there's Trayvon Diggs trying to do the same thing, and no. But anyways, the thing is...
But yeah, so maybe explain that a little bit more then.
Zimmer, so here's the thing. Newly signed defensive tackle, who I thought was going to be more of a nose tackle behind Mozzie, Jordan Phillips, number 98, said he's here to play the 3-tech, not nose tackle. He has a history as a 3-tech back in Minnesota, back in Mike Zimmer's defense, under some of his proteges as well. So the Giant scheme was just not a fit for him. They were trying to use him as a nose tackle. But Zimmer wants to use him as a 3-tech, which means he's the backup to Osa Odigizua. The backup to Mozzie Smith, it could be Jordan Rogers, I think is one, or what is his name? Justin Rogers, which is the guy we drafted from Auburn. But I believe that his actual backup, of course, is going to be the guy we just picked up. All right, Linval Joseph, and I'll discuss that in a minute. But you don't see Carl Lawson in this picture. He's number 72. Carl Lawson, we officially signed him, of course, last week. Listen to his contract breakdown as they're parting Oxnard. You see the final huddle there for the Cowboys. It was a 1-year deal. The max is $2.12 million. The base is $1.125 million, which is basically the veteran minimum almost, right?
Yeah.
Incentives, though, adds another $1 million to that. So it's a base of $1.125 million. That's the least you could pay a vet. And they have an incentive mark for him of $1 million. If he gets in games and he plays in games, there's a good chance that Carl Lawson can hit some of those incentives. If he gets 5 sacks, $125,000. If he gets 7 sacks, he adds another $125,000. That's $300,000 if he hits 7 sacks. He's got to get play time. He's got to be able to play, right? He got to not get injured.
Yeah,
if he does it, he's worth it.
Into that.
If he does those things, he gets the money. But that's a steal for us if he does that. That's a Dante Fowler and Dorrance Armstrong combination for maybe $2 million. And those two guys are a lot more than that. So that is, if the Cowboys also, of course, play him 55% of the time or more, he gets $125,000. And if he gets another 65%, if he gets 65%, 10 more percent on top of that, he gets another $125,000. So this man with 7 sacks and 65% play time, and that's a lot. He would have to be a major player on this team now. Probably be injuries, or maybe he's just showing out. At that point, you can see him making $500,000 on incentives. The other half, as we know, it's always tied into these contracts. The Cowboys make the playoffs, and he hits all these criteria. He would also earn another $500,000. So he'd have to hit all these things, and the Cowboys make the playoffs to get the full $1 million, which is tough. But if he does it, it's more than a steal, and that means we made the playoffs. It means that he must have helped us. So I like this. This is a deal I do like, but I could have done this deal. I don't have to have Stephen Jones do this deal. I could have done this deal with for the Cowboys, but it is a good it is a good sound deal for a player that if he does bad, we lose nothing. If he does good, we have a great. If he even does good, we have a great deal. Great deal. And speaking of great deals, the man, Jet Li 44, kicking the door, waving the dollar holler. Big shout out to Jet Li 44.
Always with the Go Cowboys.
Always. Yeah, he drops that dollar in there. And I know, and I want to give him the update because he is currently in second place on the Cash App side. Remember, we don't do the After Dark stuff on here anymore. This is two separate things. So he's right behind James Herr, who's the Cash App leader currently. Big shout out to Jet Li, taking a point off Mark Hovsepian's board there to 69 points. And Jet Li's still right there on the board at the bottom of the board. But he could move on up if he wanted to. Big shout out to Jet Li. So, just saying, to get the full money for Carl Lawson, he'd have to get 7 sacks to play 65% of the time, and the Cowboys make the playoffs. If we do that, he gets paid $2.125 million. If he doesn't do that, he gets paid $1.125. Bare minimum, veteran minimum. It's a win-win for the Cowboys on a cheap deal with a good depth guy that can teach them, be a little veteran depth in there to help some of the younger guys. I like the deal. Just I wish we had better deals done earlier. And this could have been a great, kind of touch-up deal.
Mm-hmm.
We touched up without doing any substance. Earl Bostic, remember, offensive lineman number 64, got rolled on in practice, was out, moved to IR. He looks like he's gone for a while. It's not like he's not one of these rosters. He's not going to be a Chuma Edoga kind of injury reserve guy. He's going to be probably out for the year or at least 6 months. Looks like he's a red-shirted situation. Earl Bostic, not doing that great, but he's like our third stringer. He's out. Looks like for the year at least. He's on IR right now, and we'll see what happens. The Cowboys also decided to release safety Sheldrick Redwine. If I'm not mistaken, that's the jersey number you have, baby. So that number now becomes free again for anyone to take. He's a 6th-year defensive back, remember, out of Miami. And he had been battling a hamstring injury during this training camp. But he had to, actually, the Cowboys finally said enough. We got to let him go. We had to make room for other guys. And I'm going to tell you who he made room for. But he departs after spending last year on the practice squad. And he was activated for one game, Sheldrick Redwine. I think it was number 39? What's Heath's number? Old number.
38.
38. So he was number 38, Sheldrick Redwine. Redwine, I think, was moved to 20 after that, if I'm not mistaken. So the $20 hollers, I guess, it's now not anymore Redwine, I guess. It's whoever takes that number 20 over. And someone will take that 20.
And Skeptical fan said, who was that?
Sheldrick Redwine, yeah. We talked about him a little bit last year, just as a practice squad guy. But he came in there, played one game. He actually did good in the game. But, he's been battling an injury. Cowboys needed room, so they cut him. No real big loss, obviously, because the guy we replaced him with, much better. And I don't mean at the position. I'm talking about Linval Joseph. Now, I know maybe you don't know much about Linval Joseph. I know some of you guys might not know much about Linval Joseph, but he played with the Vikings. I remember him with the Vikings. The last team he was on, as you can see our thumbnail, the Chargers. Kind of works with us playing the Chargers,
ironic considering what we've got going on.
I was hoping people would say, "Who's the Charger guy?" I mean, we're playing the Chargers. Why are we showing the Chargers? Because that's the guy we got. He's the guy formerly of the Chargers. So let me say, he has connection to Mike Zimmer. Let me explain about Linval Joseph. The Cowboys adding another defensive tackle to the interior of the defensive line, and this is a friend of Mike Zimmer, so to speak, and Linval Joseph. The Cowboys expressed. Remember, you said this, baby. Expressed a desire to add another interior defensive line body. That was from Jerry Jones, I think you had said that, right? Mm-hmm. So on Wednesday, yes, a couple days ago, the Cowboys signed Linval Joseph. The Cowboys finalized the deal. And what's the deal number is going to be for Linval Joseph? He's going to get $2.5 million guaranteed. It's a pretty big deal at this point for the Cowboys, right? He can earn up to $4 million with the incentives. Of course, we know it's making the playoffs. We'll hear more of the breakdowns there. But he now reunites with defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer. And I'm sorry, I think I said the Chargers, but he played with the Bills last year. I don't know why I said the Chargers. I think he was at the Chargers for a slight time. I don't know. But the Bills last year, he was with the Bills. My fault. It's funny, just like Jordan Phillips was with the Bills. Mm-hmm. But Linval Joseph last year with the Bills played in 7 games, 155 snaps. But out of those 155 snaps, he played only 72 run snaps. He played 83 pass snaps. This guy's now a defensive tackle, like a nose tackle type. He did play 35.1% of his snaps in those 7 games. He played about a third of the game. So you have to remember that you have to manage him properly so he lasts the whole game. He had 12 tackles, 7 stops. He only had 1 sack, but he's not there for pressuring. He also had 4 quarterback pressures, only a 4.8% pressure rate. But this was at a 3-tech kind of situation for him. The Cowboys are not using him they're using him as a 1-tech. The Cowboys basically said they're using him as a nose tackle, which is what we thought was going to be, Jordan Phillips' job. They kind of switched spots now, it looks like. So Linval Joseph has been brought in to play the 1-tech nose tackle position under center. So his pass rush efficiency plays no role for the Cowboys. We don't care he had 1 sack and he had only 4 pressures and only can beat the pass rush 5% of the time. I don't care. We don't care about that. I never cared about that. We need a guy who can stop the run and not be moved out of that spot. He's here to be disruptive in the run game, to be a big body in the middle they can rotate in for Mozzie, for Osa, for whoever in there. And he's had past experience with Mike Zimmer's defense. And never, to me, it's a good deal. Even though, honestly, it's more than I thought the Cowboys would ever spend on a defensive tackle. I mean, you're talking about almost $4 million total, at least $2.5 million. He's bounced around. So Linval Joseph has bounced around the NFL the last couple of years, but the most time he's been with any team is with the Vikings, which is Zimmer's crew there, right? He was basically running the middle of the Vikings defensive line, and of course, it was Mike Zimmer's defense during those years.
So someone who already is familiar with, the tendencies and the scheme and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of like an Eric Kendricks kind of move, but in our defensive front line. It's more of a...
That's a great way of phrasing it.
Yeah, Zimmer definitely on top of things and getting a little bit of stuff here from the Cowboy front office, allowing Will McClay to go after a $2.5 million guy here. But basically, he was the big guy in the middle in Zimmer's defense to stop the run. All right? They were together for 6 years, so they know each other well, Zimmer and Linval Joseph. He's joining Jordan Phillips. Like I said, they were literally playing next to each other as starters last year in Buffalo. Now we got both of the Buffalo Bills, and they had a good run defense. We're getting both of Buffalo Bills' interior starters, and they're both playing as our backups. That means we've improved our defensive line, is my point. Now, Jordan Phillips supposedly was going to be cut by the Giants after he signed with them this offseason, so that's a whole different story there. We don't know if that's accurate, but either way, Linval Joseph and Jordan Phillips now back together, manning our defensive front line here, like they did with the Bills last year. Together, they're going to be charged with, at the very least, helping fortify the middle of the defensive line by being defensive rotational players, being guys that can be used probably in the 1-tech or 3-tech interchangeably by Zimmer. And again, we know the starters are Mozzie Smith and Osa Odigizua. We know this already. The Joneses will never say, Mozzie, you're the backup now. For a first-round pick? No way. So they're going to start, but they're going to have rotation help from Linval Joseph and Jordan Phillips. They're going to have veteran, very good veteran interior defensive line minds helping them, both him and Osa. Again, for overall, $3.7 million of base, up to $5 million they get paid. Who cares? They're not going to get the $5 million. I'm just saying, my point is that this is a good, cheap deal the Cowboys should do after they get the big names, which they never got this year. They never got any bigger names. So, these are solid players. Solid veteran players that are going to help Osa and especially Mozzie Smith. So look at our defensive line now with Zimmer's new defensive line, right? Oh, I'm talking about across the board. You got DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons at the edge. You got Marshawn Nealon as one of the backups on the edge, along with Carl Lawson, another backup on the edge. No Sam Williams. You got Carl Lawson kind of taking over that spot. So those are our 4 guys on the 2 defensive edge rushing spots. What about the interior? You got Osa Odigizua and Mozzie Smith inside. And now you've added Jordan Phillips behind Osa and Linval Joseph behind Mozzie. At the very least, that's an improvement. Now, I'm not going live to tell you guys who got Linval Joseph. I'm not going to go live to break the news of Jordan Phillips. These are good pickups. They're not winning the Super Bowl pickups. All right, that time has passed, in my opinion. But These are solid run-stopping pieces that can help us not just stop the run, but also help guys like Mozzie not have to play 70 snaps. We get Mozzie playing 40 snaps, and we get Linval Joseph playing 20, and that's fine. We could have Jordan, Jordan Phillips playing 20, 25 snaps. You don't want these guys getting hurt because they will. So you got to play them less, but you also want to use your starters, which is Osa, and your own guys, Osa and Mozzie, which is what they're going to do. So with these three new additions in basically a week, and I say three, I mean Jordan Phillips, I'm talking about Linval Joseph, and I'm talking about Carl Shaq Lawson as an edge rusher. Keep him healthy. He will be a Dante Fowler type out there. These three we did more additions with these three guys this week than we've done the whole entire offseason. That's embarrassing. But at least they're solid guys for Zimmer to help stop the run. Now, I do want to kind of go through a couple of his situations here. Linval Joseph, guys, spent last year with the Bills. All right? He came to the Vikings in 2014, played there for 6 years under Zimmer. All right? So he's very familiar, like you said, baby, with what Zimmer wants to do defensively.
Yep.
He thrived with 4 seasons of 3 sacks or more as a nose tackle, 3-tech type of guy. And he had back-to-back Pro Bowls in 2016 and 2017. He's not there anymore. He's not that kind of guy. We're not going to get a guy like that for $2.5 million. But Zimmer is known for having huge defensive tackles. And just so you guys know, Jordan Phillips, 6'6", 240. Linval Joseph, 6'4", 330. Fitting the criteria. These two guys already could probably start. It wouldn't be scary, but they could probably start. Now you got Mozzie and Osa in the mix. We went from going from Mozzie and Osa and nobody to now Mozzie and Osa and Linval Joseph and Jordan Phillips, which is an improvement. I'm not jumping for joy, but it is an improvement. Thank you, Will McClay, for helping this with a little bit that Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones give you to work with. And also, Zimmer is very appreciative, so is Will McClay, about that allowance to happen. But Linval Joseph has dealt with a lot of injuries over the years, which is why he's bounced around the last couple of years. If he's healthy, it's another huge steal for the Cowboys that can rotate inside. He's extremely athletic. I'm saying Jordan Phillips, the guy we got from the Bills from the Giants. Jordan Phillips is an extremely athletic human at 6'6", 340. And he can do 3-tech or 1-tech stuff. He can do all the basically line up anywhere across the board. Even in a 3-4, he could play an edge if he wanted to. He can play alongside Mozzie and give Osa a breather if need be. And now that we got Linval Joseph added to the Cowboys, is another anchor inside that will tremendously improve the run game. This is the biggest issue with our defense, by far the biggest issue in our defense. And we brought in 2 guys that are going to definitely help our defense stop the run. So when you got run situations, you got Linval Joseph, Osa, Mozzie, and Jordan Phillips. A lot of options in the Cowboy rotation to stop a lot of run. That has to happen or it's a failure. That's all I'm going to leave it at that there. I'm going to go through a couple last things about Linval Joseph, but first I want to hear from my guy here, Mark Hovsepian, second place on this board. What did the man say with that 5 on it?
Ooh, thank you, Mark. He said, A+ for signings to help and depth.
I agree.
C- overall defensive tackle signings grade.
I agree.
We were almost the worst run defensive tackle. Mm-hmm. And the 2 guys we got are not replacing starters.
Exactly. No, and 100%. We're not going to replace Osa, a drafted guy that the Cowboys got, or Mozzie, a first-round pick. So, I mean, Mark, you knew that we were not going to ever replace those guys, right? So we will not spend early in free agency for guys in interior. But the Cowboys will spend later, finally. Actually, they usually didn't even spend. Mark, you know how often the Cowboys spent for defensive linemen even in this stage? Nothing. So at least Zimmer is getting through with Will McClay, getting through to this front office to let us spend a little bit of this fucking $20 million you got left in cap to help stop the fucking run. We cannot stop the run still. Now with these 2 guys, it has rotation depth. Not starters. Rotating depth that will help stop the run and keep our main guys healthier and ready for pass rush, whether it's Mozzie and Osa. You got them to maybe able to be a little more pass rushing and also help stop the run. Well, you got these guys definitely going to help stop the run.
By the way, skeptical fan also saying, are they better than Hankins?
I said this last week when it came to Jordan
Phillips.
Jordan Phillips also is a better pass rusher than Jonathan Hankins.
Okay.
And that's what they want from Mozzie. So I think he's going to learn some pass rush technique from a Jordan Phillips better than a Hankins. Like, that's why automatically, yes, Hankins is third in this list. I think Linval Joseph is better than him, and I think Jordan Phillips is better than Hankins. So in that sense, it is an improvement. But we basically paid, I mean, not for Linval Joseph play a little bit more, but Jordan Phillips has been to hit us for $1.7 million, which is what Hankins basically cost the Seattle Seahawks. So in a way, we got a better deal, I guess you could say, in the end. But we went the long way for that. We could have signed this guy way back when and probably signed him for about the same amount, and not worry about this shit. But the Cowboys wanted to go through training camp to see where the weaknesses was, and then hear from Zimmer. Say, hey, Zimmer, what do you need now from us? We can spare $2.5 million, another $1 million for another guy. So this is what we got. Let's just knock on wood and be happy about it, I guess. Right. Big shout out, Mark. Appreciate you. I agree, Mark.
Yes, and shout out to everybody here chilling, hanging with us. Appreciate you all. Let me take a quick second here to remind everyone to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You guys can find us anywhere and everywhere at MyCowboysFamily. Of course, hop in the Discord. Link for that's in the description box down below. And we will be live tomorrow, guys, to show our reaction to that final preseason game
against the Chargers. I'm ready for it. So Zimmer bringing in, I don't know, I'm hoping we're going to see number 98, Joseph tomorrow. Jordan Daniels. Hope we see Linval Joseph. I'm not going to hold my breath on these guys, especially if there's acclimation needed and that kind of stuff. They're probably not, but definitely Linval Joseph not ready. Just really quick though, he's 6'4", Linval Joseph, 329 pounds, 330, 14 years in the NFL. Tackles for loss 57, 26 and a half sacks, so quarterback hit 76. It doesn't matter. Basically, the fit and connection between Linval Joseph and the Cowboys are obvious. He played under this guy on your screen, Mike Zimmer, in Minnesota for 6 years. And the Cowboys have a massive need as for a run stopper, and he fits that. He's been in the year for 14 years. Heading into the 15th year, he has been a productive member of defensive lines for a long time. Even last year with the Bills, he was an effective member of their defensive line. So, obviously not at the top of his game like he was 5 or 6 years ago, but Linval Joseph will provide big value to a Cowboy defense who desperately need more help in the run game, in the run stop. So let me explain his strengths real quick. I'm going to run through this real quick. Okay. Massive guy. He commands probably 2 blockers inside. He has the size and strength to still be a disruptor at that initial first level. A true one tech. Not some 3 tech, you can know, a versatile guy. He is a 1 tech. He plays under center, over center, left or right of center. A position the Cowboys are lacking at severely, and Mozzie's still a big question mark. Can he really do it consistently enough? So Linval Joseph will help Mozzie Smith in this way. He understands Zimmer's system and should hit the ground running. So you should already know most of the tweaks in Zimmer's system. He knows his role is to eat blocks, take on 2 guys, freeing up space, and letting linebackers fill in those gap fits. And he embraces that role. He always has. For 14 years, he loves taking on double teams and not getting tackles. Because if he's taking on double teams, then that double team's not getting off for the linebacker, and the linebacker's making the tackle. So he loves that he kind of fits that perfectly. He can, look, Linval Joseph does not, 14 years, he can probably provide a small pass rush ability, maybe pushing the pocket back a little bit. But on early downs, he's able to live in the backfield as a run stopper. And he's, like I said this over and over again, I'm going to say it again, he's a mentor to the young defensive linemen we have in our defensive line room, especially interior with Mozzie and Osa. So, he can show those young guys how it looks to, like, how you can sustain as in the NFL for as long as you can and still play at a high level. Now, he has a couple of weaknesses. Older now, right? So he's not going to have the ability to kind of get in there and cause havoc as often as he did in his best days when he was younger. His production has dropped some with his age going up. His production dropped. So, like I said, he needs to be on a pitch count. Him and Jordan Phillips, both these guys need to be in there 20 to 25 snaps a game. No more. Also, weakness is he came into camp late. So he's going to be he needs more acclimation. He needs more, more time on that field. I don't know if he's going to have an early season impact. Linval Joseph, with the time he's in, 14 years, right? Now his 15th year. Even if he knows the scheme, getting back into the rhythm of things, acclimated, it's going to take him some time. And he, again, remember this fact, he's been bouncing around from teams because he's bounced around injured. He hasn't played a full season since 2020. So injuries and durability have to be monitored. That's why I say pitch count. That's why I say 20 snaps a game, 25 snaps a game for Linval Joseph to really help solidify stopping the run. And then you can bring in the Mozzie and Osa on those plays where we can do the run pass kind of situation.
Yeah, and that
work
also
on both of those things for them.
maximizes the benefit that you're getting from these guys when you're not overplaying them when they really shouldn't be out there.
So again,
whether
guys,
it's, like I said, a personnel thing, whether it's a scheme thing, whether it's just their fucking up thing, the reason almost doesn't matter. Yeah.
No, I good night, Skeptical, by the way. Much love to you, brother. In summary, it's kind of like what I said. The weaknesses on both these guys, they're not scary anymore. They're not the way they used to be. They're not Pro Bowlers or all pros. So I agree. We all know that for 2.5 million and another 1 million. We know we're not getting the Pro Bowlers like we used to. But both these guys, all right, have to be looked upon. Jordan Phillips and Linval Joseph have to be looked upon as 20 to 25 snap a game guys that are going to provide depth, going to provide rotational, help. And it's going to teach the younger guys how to play and sustain in their careers, but especially right now. I think this is a good move for the Cowboys for depth for both these guys. So you can't really talk badly about these moves other than they're not superstars, But we knew that the Cowboys are not paying superstars, especially inside. So both these guys are not commanding big salaries. They're both not relied upon to start. And the Cowboys filled a hole. 2 holes, you can say, with the 1 tech and 3 tech with 2 guys that are known commodities at what they do at stopping the run in those spots. So it makes sense that the Cowboys made this move. Linval Joseph made the Cowboy run defense respectable and tougher along with Jordan Phillips. It's going to keep teams from maybe running consistently in the middle when they see Joseph in there or Jordan Phillips in there. I believe it's a great move, and it could be better if these guys pan out just, with the rotational snaps they'll be getting. So now you got Jordan Phillips, you got Linval Joseph, you got Mozzie and Osa starting. We got the 4-man, and I think that rookie is, I like Justin Rogers, the rookie, as our 5th guy. That's the 5-man squad is going to make this fucking interior defensive line of this team, in my opinion. And again, do you feel better about the interior or defensive line? They're not superstars, but I feel better with the interior defensive line with these 2 pickups inside and Carl Lawson at the edge. Your thoughts and the chat's thoughts, baby. What's your thoughts on this? Linval Joseph.
Of course. Like I said, I am very much looking forward to seeing the kind of final results there. And you kind of mentioned this too. I didn't want to steal your thunder when you said it, but I'm like, man, I should have mentioned that too. The experience that he brings to this D-line, along with, the Phillips and the whatever, is like, yeah, that's great. But like you said, it feels like there is a clear focus on older, experienced veterans that have some familiarity with Zimmer's scheme that don't need a lot of hand-holding or coaching, but are there to help elevate the guys we already have, like you said, the Osas and the Mozzies, right? Yeah. Help possibly elevate them with their veteran experience and, consistent play under Zimmer's scheme. Agreed, Notice how I said consistent play. That doesn't mean they're not going to mess up or that they're going to go out there and look like Pro Bowlers, but they are going to play consistently and well, is my obvious expectation here. So, again, like I said, I am a fan. So...
100% agree. 100% agree. So, and I want to know from the chat, what's any quick thoughts on the Linval Joseph? Any Linval Joseph comment or Jordan Daniels comment? I'm cool to hear.
No specific comment.
All right.
From them or about them. So.
What's up, Jet Li? Skeptical, good night. Godless in the house.
Yeah, I was going to
having a smoke. James Hurr in the house.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, I took over. You were gonna shout him out.
Okay, you already did it for me. So
well, let me shout out our brand new depth chart. Not that there's that many changes, but if you just look for this upcoming game, check it out. This is where we're sitting. You can see the numbers attached to the names. Jalen Brooks now is a starter up there at receiver with Jalen Tolbert and Brandon Cooks because there's no CeeDee Lamb, of course. And, you look at the backup receivers, Cropper, Turpin, and Billy Johnson. So that's Ryan Flournoy right now, to me, is hanging by a thread on the edge. I think he's making a move up in this thing, but Flournoy could be definitely our sixth guy. I think he has a chance to kind of make this team and maybe put Cropper and Billy Johnson on the practice squad kind of deal with those guys. Tight ends, Ferguson, Schoonmaker, Hendershot, but Stevens right there in fourth with other guys like Princeton Fant, undrafted last year, and Brevin Spanford, Alec Holler. We're going to look at these guys later. At running back, Zeke and Dowdle, the 1-2 punch. And then you got Royce Freeman as our third guy. Malik Davis is our fourth guy. Deuce is our fifth. Fullback, Hunter Lipke. Snoop Connor, third, and Nathaniel Pete rounding up the running back spots. But our starting offensive line, Chuma Dogu, might not be there. We got Tyler Guyton taking over that spot eventually as the backup there. Tyler Smith, Hoffman, who I think Cooper Beebe will bypass for week one, and Zach Martin, Terrence Steele, the starters there. Defensively, we talked about the four front starters there, the defensive line guys, with Phillips as the backup to Mozzie, which really he'll be the backup to Osa, and Fehoko. I think he's in danger. Number 93, Villame Fehoko. I think he's in trouble.
Agreed.
He may be on the way out with the guy like Linval Joseph coming in. And then you got Chauncey Golston and Marshawn Nealon. I think that's decent as backups in there, but we got to add in there Carl Lawson, who's going to move up on that board. You see him there, number 72. Linebackers, I like our starters, all right, Kendricks and Damone Clark. But Maris Leofau played number 35, played fantastic. I've been high on him from the beginning. Let's see how he does. I have a good feeling about him. He's bypassing, I think, most people's expectations, doing a great job. Leofau looking good out there, looking like a Palomalu at linebacker. I love it. And, of course, you got Overshone, is going to be working back slower, so he's the backup right now. Damian Wilson, Willie Harvey, who's made too many stop mistakes, in my opinion. But Damian Wilson, the old former Cowboy. The rest of the guys are all going to be probably practice squad. And then at cornerback, real quick, guys, Trayvon Diggs, Deron Bland, Jordan Lewis, we know that. But the backups, Kalen Carson, Eric Scott, and Keemon Hall. I think Andrew Booth, number 25, another guy to watch jumping up this list. At safeties, we only need two safeties in this defense, but Donovan Wilson, Malik Hooker, starters, obviously. Marquise Bell, Wanye Thomas, they could be starters for other teams. What are we talking about here, right? Mukwamu, Julius Wood looking good. So we really set at safety as well. Returners, we know the kickoff. We know who the kicker, punter, and long snappers are. Returner is going to be Turpin, with little Rico Dowdle and Cropper backing them up. And Deuce Vaughn, the third guy, not good for Deuce, trying to make this team. With Tyron Billy Johnson as number 4. We got a couple of drops in the house. Let's shout them out, baby. Because right now, I see Marco Seppian with that 5 on it. Mm-hmm. And that's going to put him in first place on the overall board. I see Calvin Richard with a $10 holla. That's the drop of the night so far. And that puts him right in the middle of the pack here on the leaderboard. As everyone takes a look at the depth chart for this game and maybe for week 1, I want you to go through these comments, baby. Let me know what the family said.
Well, of course. So Calvin Richards, much love with his $10 holler. He said, the new additions on the interior D-line should help as long as we don't end up having another Dontari Poe.
Exactly.
So
we get Dontari
obviously
Poe.
We're all having a PTSD situation with Dontari Poe because that's like the 17th time someone's brought up his name tonight by saying, please, 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 just don't turn into Dontari Poe.
Yeah, we are.
We're 1,000% with you there, Calvin. That's the last thing any of us want to see.
Yeah, I want to say about that. Just again, Calvin Richard, I'm putting you up on the board as we speak, but yeah, we can't predict if we have Dontari Poe. The good thing is, are they both going to be Dontari Poe? Like, as long as one is good, I think we're in good shape here.
Yeah.
As long as one of them are good and Mozzie and Oza can do what they're hopefully going to do, as long as one of them don't be Dontari. If one of them's Dontari, it's sad. But they're both Dontari, we're fucked. So I hear you. I think as long as one isn't, we're okay. But you're right. If they're Dontari Poe, they're going to run all over us. And that's the end of the season. Then we got Marco Seppian taking over first place on the board. What did he hit to say with that $5 holla?
He said, it shows you how weak we are when the guys that we're depending on would not start on most teams. I see a marginal gain, but Jerry Jones still messed up not drafting a defensive tackle or a running back.
Well, and that's again, we're gonna. That's a little jumping around there, but while I agree the Cowboys messed up to some extent about the running back, to some extent about the defensive tackle spot. I also think, and I hate to say this, I hate to not agree 100% with Mark Hovsepian here, although I agree with the first part of what he's saying there, because I agree with some of it. We're not Here's the thing: we're not bringing in Linval Joseph and Jordan Phillips to depend on them. We're depending. This is going to make everyone mad. We're depending on Mozzie Smith and Osa Odigizua. We bring these guys in to just help support them a little bit.
Like I said, it's a good way of explaining how that breakdown happens, or at least how the Cowboys team sees them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because they're not here to start. I mean, and that's the thing. They're not here to be scary. They're not here to start. It's a marginal gain because it's not because my thing is we didn't go after maybe a bigger player, a bigger name, a guy who it's not a question mark like a Dontari Poe might have been coming to us. A guy, because remember, we know it's funny that year we got Dontari Poe. You remember who else we got that year?
No, who?
Gerald McCoy, and he got injured in that first practice. But you know what they both did? They both came from the Carolina Panthers as the interior defensive linemen. And we rolled fucking snake eyes on both of them. We fucked up on both of these guys. So that's the hope we don't see that again. Because that was two guys and they got no use out of them. And these are two guys supposed to provide depth here. Now, I will say this. At the time, Dontari Poe and McCoy, they were supposed to be kind of like starters for us.
Yeah.
These two guys are backups with 20 snaps, 25 snaps a game for us. So I think if you have Gerald McCoy and you have Dontari Poe playing 40, 50 snaps, they're going to look like shit. If you got Linval Joseph and Jordan Phillips playing 20 to 25 snaps a game, you're going to see effective play, is my guess on this. As long as they're not Dontari Poe. Nobody can help that. If they're Dontari Poe, we fucked. We are fucked. But as you can see, though, the interior, who would you rather have, though? Fehoko? Can't do anything inside.
Yeah.
You know? We got Denzel Daxon, a rookie from the Bahamas. Justin Rogers, a 7th-round rookie. Albert Huggins, a guy we picked up and is about to get thrown off out of the league for shoving the fucking Rams guy. I mean, these are the guys we got left. Carl Davis, we cut him. So it comes down to, like, the Cowboys fucked up because they didn't go after the real deal guys early on. They didn't want to pay that money. But, again, that's the mistake. The good part, I'm looking at this separately from that because the Cowboys added depth to the guys that we knew they wanted to have start. They were never going to bring in, I'm using an example, they were going to bring in Aaron Donald in here. They're never going to bring in that guy from the Colts. I love to bring, I forgot his name now, but a guy from the Colts, I wanted him in here. They're going to go with Mozzie and Linval Joseph rather than the guy from the Colts. So, and we knew this already. We could hope, but we knew this. Mark Hope stepping with another 5 on it as he takes over first place, adds to his Stream Boss numbers. He's back to that lucky number, 69. What did the man Mark Hovsepian have to say?
He said that's the point. The starters sucked to begin with. Osa has never been a run stopper, and Mozzie would have to improve huge. That's a lot of hope for a weak defensive tackle.
Yep, and I'm not disagreeing at all with him. I agree 100% that is the initial. That's the problem here. The starters would have cost the Joneses too much. And drafting guys, well, we drafted Mozzie. He's got to be the guy. Osa, well, we drafted him in the 3rd round. He's got to be the guy. So until the Cowboy front office says, okay, these were busts, that's when you see us getting a starter type guy. Until then, we'll get backup rotational guys that are not scary. That's what I see it there, Mark. I mean, again, and I agree with you. The starters, Mozzie, horrible first year, right? Bust for a first year draft pick. And then you look at Osa, who again is good at certain things, but not good at all the things we need to be at the 3-tech spot. So again, they both are not really great for what we want to use them in Zimmer's defense, but we drafted them. They're guys that Jerry Jones drafted, and Jerry Jones will use them as starters no matter what Zimmer says. But without Mozzie as a true run stopper and Osa as a true run stopper, we had to go with two guys that are run stoppers. And hope that these that are Mozzie and Osa learn from these two guys. Seems to me to be the hope. Hope I answered the question there. Jet Lee 44 in the house, dropping that $2 holler. What do you have to say?
He said, coming full circle with the last Dallas Cowboys with a Super Bowl win.
I hope so, brother. I hope so. It don't feel like it's full circle right now. It feels like the Cowboys are playing tiddlywinks.
Hey,
Everyone's playing chess.
I'll take any circle at this point.
Well, I don't want a circle of losing, which has been the way it is for 29 years, unfortunately. The colors are shining in the chat, guys. Thank you for the yellow, the greens, and the blues in there. And I hope you guys got a good look at our depth chart for this game against the Chargers, but also a little preview of what's coming up. Maybe, after this game, we're going to have some cut downs, right? So let's quickly just, as you guys finish your thoughts in the chat, we finish up in here. It's been over an hour and a half. And we'll be back tomorrow for the full 3.5 hours of this game, Chargers Cowboys. But I want to, if you don't mind, I want to quickly make sure I show everybody and let everybody know what we have to look for tomorrow.
Of course.
All right. So real quickly, as you check the chat, I want everyone listening, and so we're gonna. I would hope that I'll probably be taking some of these thoughts tomorrow during the game and kind of letting you guys know about them and kind of reminding you. But number one, Trey Lance. We got to see what, Trey, I think I have some quotes. Jerry Jones said something like Trey Lance is on this team. Like he's making this team.
Yeah, he already confirmed it. He said Trey Lance is making the 53.
Right, so
I don't have to repeat that later on, but just remember it.
They just want to see how Trey. I think there's two reasons why they're going to play Trey Lance, not just a lot, but it's important to watch him. Could be a trade function for the Cowboys here. If anybody wants to take a risk on Trey Lance, give us a fourth rounder, and we'll do it. Give us a fourth round pick back. It means we didn't lose anything. So there's that chance. Again, so Jerry Jones made it clear that he still, even though he's making the team, he still needs to see more from Trey Lance. 24-year-old guy, he's still young, but he's making the roster according to Jerry Jones. Done deal. But look for Trey Lance to play the majority of this game against the Chargers. Jerry Jones wants to see more, what he can do, push him a little more. Again, I believe they don't even need to play Cooper Rush. Just play Trey Lance the entire game. He didn't look great in the Cowboys' first game against the Rams. He was more consistent. He looked more comfortable against the Raiders, but I still think he had issues. So there's no way Trey Lance. I know there's a lot of people that love Trey Lance, hate Dak. They hate Dak. They want Cooper Rush over him, and the rest want Trey Lance over. It ain't happening, guys. Sorry to burst your bubble. Trey Lance is the third stringer this year, and he is making the team. It sounds like, but it will take a lot in this Charger game for him to do so good that he jumps Cooper Rush. You guys feel me on this? So jumping Cooper Rush probably not going to happen. But just seeing more, and again, trade bait could be another reason for this here. I think McCarthy said this, quote, I think just like anything, you play this all the way out. You can never have enough good quarterbacks. And we got 3 good ones here. We're fortunate. So that was Mike McCarthy's quote about the quarterback situation there. Now, another guy we're going to be watching is a guy we talked about a lot. He didn't play last week with the allergic reaction, Mozzie Smith. Mozzie Smith, I want to see how number 58 plays in the interior. Just give him some more reps here before the regular season. He did not make the trip to Los Angeles. It was because of some milk he drank. He just said, I'm a big guy. I eat a lot of food. So again, guys, he returned to practice this week and is expected to play tomorrow against the Chargers. Cowboys need this first round draft pick to be much more impactful and not be such a bust in year 2 here. So the veteran help we discussed already should help him. Recently added, so we'll see how that works out. But I think a big game for him against the Chargers tomorrow is a good way to get some positive vibes going forward with Mozzie Smith. Now, what about number 42, Deuce Vaughn? Deuce Vaughn is a guy I think he's hanging on by a thread on this team. Last preseason, he showed why he was able. Last preseason game, last year he played great. In preseason. Against the Raiders, he showed a little juice out there. He performed like a player who should be on the 53, but is there enough room for him? The running back cuts are going to be interesting because you got Zeke and Rico. They're making the roster. And we already know also that Hunter Lipke is making this roster. As a fullback, of course. So are the Cowboys going to go with another running back, a third running back, or are they going to go with 4 or 5? That's a big question, right? You got veteran Royce Freeman. You got a couple of younger guys, but to me it's Royce Freeman and Deuce Vaughn. They're going to be fighting it out for the last spot. So I think Royce Freeman makes it until Deuce Vaughn can show why he can be a 53-man roster guy on this team. I also think that Royce Freeman or Deuce Vaughn could be a guy that's plucked off the team during cuts. And, somebody will take a roll of dice with a Deuce Vaughn, even on kickoffs or something, a team that's doesn't have any kickoff returners or punt returners. So Deuce Vaughn, Royce Freeman, watch them tomorrow. That's number 27, Royce Freeman, Deuce Vaughn, number 42. Now, also Marshawn Kneeland, number 94, the rookie second-round pick, has to show us something because he's now replacing Sam Williams. Now, I know Carl Lawson is also in the mix. Not sure if number 72 is going to play. But Carl Lawson is somebody that, if he's out there, I also want to see him. We need to see the backups to Micah and DeMarcus Lawrence. Because we don't have Fowler. We don't have Armstrong anymore. So we need to see the backups here, like rookie Kneeland, number 94, play. See how he does. Like newly acquired Carl Lawson, number 72. Hopefully he's ready to play, and hopefully he can get on that field. So the rookie defensive end, Marshawn Kneeland, has had a very good training camp. I think DeMarcus Lawrence said, quote, he got taught pretty well coming up in college and high school. Glad we got him. He's a hell of a draft pick for us, and I feel like he's going to help us a lot this year. Again, guys, he reiterated without Dorrance Armstrong and Dante Fowler and Sam Williams out for the year, we're going to see a lot of Marshawn Kneeland. Tomorrow, number 94, keep an eye on him in that Charger game. This might be surprising to you. Who are we going to see a lot of tomorrow, whether on kickoffs or field goals or extra points? Brandon Aubrey. So, just watch Brandon Aubrey, guys. The only kicker on the roster. He's going to play the entire game on Saturday. And going by last week's game, don't be surprised if he's called on to kick a 50 or 60-plus yard field goal. Again, testing his leg out this week. So you might see something like that happen again. He attempted a 65-yard field goal in the first week against the Rams. Last week against the Raiders, he attempted a 66-yarder and made it. So again, we kicked a 65 and 66-yard attempt and made one of them. There's a good chance to probably go 60-something this week at some point in this game. The end of the half or something, right? So keep that in mind. There's no reason to think McCarthy won't give him some opportunities in our last home preseason game. Now, back on defense, number 35. And I keep watching this guy. I'm going to keep watching him tomorrow. You'll probably hear me say a lot of good things about him. Marist Liufau, number 35, the rookie linebacker. Keep an eye. To me, right now, he's listed as a starter. I think Overshown will probably jump him. But for now, let's just say Marist Liufau looks really, really good. At the very least, he's our fourth linebacker. He has become more noticeable with every preseason game and every practice. You see him jumping off the screen more. Keep an eye on his hair flowing in the back like Palomalu. Marist Liufau at number 35, at linebacker, coming in there trying to stop the run. Coming in there on some blitzes. Coming there as a linebacker and fitting his run gap assignments. Again, Overshown and Damone Clark, both these guys are kind of working their way back from injuries. Overshown was just on the even though we know he had a big tear last year, he had a little soreness, so he was working the resistance cords. We're going to see a lot of number 35 in this game, Marist Liufau. Third round pick. I know Marco Seppian doesn't like him yet. Mark, trust me, him and Marshawn Kneeland looking so good out there. Of course, we know Tyler Guyton's looking great. BB's looking really good. That's our top four picks looking good. And you throw in there, Kalen Carson, number 41, which I'll be watching. This is a really good rookie group. Ryan Flournoy even as a receiver fighting for a spot, looking good, really good last week. He looked like better than most of our receivers that we had in that game last week. So let me go with the rookies now. Because again, Marist Liufau on defense, linebacker. Our first round pick, Tyler Guyton, number 60. Remember, I know you have information on this. Tyler Guyton left practice early on Wednesday with some also knee soreness. So the probability is he will not play against the Chargers, which is expected here in a way. But he will be definitely ready for the week 1 battle against Myles Garrett and the Browns in week 1. So if he's not going to play, you're going to probably see a lot of Awesome Richards, number 76, playing left tackle. All right? So he's going to get the start. This could be a make or break for Awesome Richards, but Cowboys like Awesome Richards. And when I think Jerry Jones was asked about which players have excited him in training camp, he said the entire offensive line. He said, I'm excited about the individual players, excited about the depth, excited about the youth there. Basically, he was saying it starts with Guyton and BB And over the last month or so, the Cowboys, looks like they're going to hit real big on Tyler Guyton, another first-round pick. And again, I'm going to go back. I'm going to stay with the lineman and Cooper Beebe. Tyler Guyton might not play, but Cooper Beebe, number 56, will be playing, I think, a lot in this game, taking those snaps and trying to perfect the snap, whether it's under center or shotgun. Beebe entered training camp as a number 3 center. And right now, he's leaving camp right as like 1B to Brock Hoffman's 1A at center right now. And by the time this game and this practices are over before the cuts, as we get ready for week 1, I expect Cooper Beebe to be number 1 and the starting center for the Cowboys. Everything changed during that first preseason game. Actually, why not just show you guys? There's that first. Watch Cooper Beebe and all these 56 snaps for number 56 against the Rams. Just fantastic stuff. Whether it's under center snaps or shotgun snaps, whether it's blocking for a run or for a pass, Cooper Beebe doing great. Keep an eye on 56 tomorrow at center. So everything changed in this game for Cooper Beebe. He showed that he can play, he can snap, he can do the offensive line calls. He has good communication and cadence, gets cadence recognition from the quarterback. Great stuff from Cooper Beebe. And again, guys, he earned his opportunity to basically get more work with the starters after this game you're seeing on your screen. After this Rams game, he earned the starting role in practice to see if he can keep that starting role. And he's been getting more and more work with the first stringers. And he's been more and more consistent with his snaps. They're not high anymore. They're not off to the right or left anymore. He practiced with his mom the other day. So his snaps are becoming better, more consistent. And right now, guys, the former standout guard at Kansas State, I believe after this game we watch against the Chargers at home, he should have another solid game like you're seeing here. He will likely be the Cowboys starting center for the 2024 season, week 1. And I expect, that's why I'm watching him, I'm expected to keep an eye on these guys. Remember, it's Leo Fau, Tyler Guyton, Cooper Beebe. These are starters we're talking about here. Now, a guy is not a starter. Ryan Flournoy, number 18 on that field as receiver. He has steadily improved throughout training camp. He started off injured with a hamstring, right? A knee injury, I'm sorry. That got off to a slow start. But he's been at pretty much every practice since he's back on that field. And every time he's back, we could look at my practice highlights. You could look at every game. You could look at this at the last game he played against the Raiders. Flournoy scored a touchdown on Trey Lance's nice, kind of corner pass there. But Flournoy basically had like 5 out of the 6 straight passes thrown to him, and he made the catch. He looked like a veteran. He looked solid out there. So Ryan Flournoy, I don't know, Flournoy is what the way he said it, but I say Flournoy, he's been steadily improving. He's been better at every practice. He makes a noticeable play every practice and every game he's been in, which is 1. He's made a couple of plays, the last one. And the main thing is him and Trey Lance have had a good connection, a good rapport. So those two, you'll see a lot of Flournoy and Trey Lance in this game against the Chargers. And I believe you're going to see some good connection again with Trey Lance and Flournoy. I think it's going to make it a hard cut for the Cowboys. Remember, guys, CeeDee Lamb not there. Brandon Cook's the second receiver. Jalen Tolbert is our third guy. Jalen Brooks is our fourth guy. He's made some great plays. And Kevontae Turpin's our fifth guy. We're not getting rid of him. So sometimes teams only keep 5 receivers. We got 5 receivers already set in place. So who's that leave left for us, guys? And like I said earlier, when you look at the receiving core here, yeah, you got Jalen Cropper, who's had a fumble and some issues. Billy Johnson, who seems more like a practice squad type guy. Racey McMath, who connects with Trey Lance, but at best is practice squad. You're going to have Cam Johnson and David Durden. Who cares? Dante Burnett. The guy that stands out to me as a number 6 on this team is Ryan Flournoy. I believe Ryan Flournoy, our 6th-round pick receiver, will make this team as our number 6th receiver. And a lot of that's going to come from this upcoming game against the Chargers. So I think the connection with Trey Lance is going to give him an upper hand, and he's going to look really good in this game. If Trey Lance can get the ball right to him, I think Flournoy, who has a good catch radius, you're going to see me talking highly of him, another rookie that I think we hit on this year. I think we hit on 6 out of the 9 rookies at least so far, at least what they're showing us early in this, in the season / late in training camp and late in preseason. The last guy, an undrafted guy, tight end Brevin Spanford. All right, so Spanford with the hyphenated name back there, he's a guy I expect to see number 47. All right, there's a bunch of tight ends fighting for like one spot. So Spanford entered camp with a decent shot at making a 53-man roster, but to me, he was the most significant investment. They paid him the most money than any other undrafted guy. But he's entering this final preseason game, and he hasn't had a strong showing yet. 6'6" and all this stuff, but blocking hasn't stood out. Receiving hasn't stood out. The biggest thing I remember about him is that he got into a big brawl. The first big fight at the Cowboys training camp, he was involved with it, with him and Kalen Carson, 2 rookies. So he has to enter this game against the Chargers. As tight end, number 47 is going to have to make some big plays. He's going to have to show out in the blocking and the playmaking, catching abilities as a receiver if he's going to come close to making the final cut. Worst case scenario for him, he's going to get cut, and then he'll be back at the practice squad as a tight end. That's what I believe will happen at the worst case for him. Because remember, you got Ferguson, you got Schoonmaker. I think you got, of course, Hendershot to me is really hanging on. Princeton Fant, I don't know if he's going to make it. He'll probably be a practice squad guy. John Stevens, to me, is maybe the best third tight end we have on this team. And Hendershot might have to be cut, in my opinion. But now you're looking at, is it going to be a Hendershot? Which guys make the practice squad, right? Hendershot, Princeton Fant, Spanford. Those are the 3 guys that they're fighting for that one. If there's a one spot, that's the spot they're fighting for, at least in the practice squad. And as far as the tight end position, John Stevens has the inside track on that, number 81. So if you want to keep an eye on him tomorrow, he's going to make the team. But keep an eye on number 81 as well. 81 and Spanford, number 47. I think the other guys left, like Alec Holler and Princeton Fant, they're 48 and 49, I think, their numbers. They're more on the edge of maybe just definitely being practice squatters. Either way, guys, there's no guarantee the Cowboys will even keep 4 tight ends, as you said, baby. Because of Hunter Lipke definitely being on this team, he could kind of be like that inline H blocker, the inline kind of tight end H blocker type of guy.
He's got the flexibility and the versatility to be able to kind of fill multiple holes there. So the direction the Cowboys seem to be leaning towards is, just the 3 tight ends.
3 tight ends. That means nobody makes it outside of Stevens. Hendershot gets cut. And I think 1 or 2 of these guys get back on the practice squad when you look at these names. So tight end is less to look forward to. I think number 81 is the one that's inside track when it comes to that next spot. Over Hendershot, over Spanford, over Fant. I think it's John Stevens, number 81. But keep an eye on all these guys. They will be playing. Most of these guys will be playing tomorrow in this Charger game. So that's it from me, baby. And I think that's it from the whole week of things other than your quotes that you have from a couple of players out there. As Cooper Beebe, we've seen his highlights a bunch of times over. Run me through it, baby. Who spoke and this past week? What things they say? Give us some updates.
First, we're actually going to start with our front office because Jerry Jones, obviously he spoke about more than just CeeDee Lamb, and he actually spoke about some of the moves we made on the D-line, saying, quote, "I like the new faces we brought in on the D-line. We're probably not through there in terms of adding a new face."
Which we just did, right? Linval Joseph.
So, speaking of the D-line, he did talk about the O-line as well, saying, "I'm excited about our offensive line. I'm excited about the individual players. I'm excited about the depth there. I'm excited about the youth there. All of it. That's critical. It is vital for us to have the run game that we had the other night. I know it was preseason, but I was impressed with how we pushed the other team around the other night. I'd like to see us really be able to have our quarterback depth. I'd like to see him get some more work, him as in Trey Lance there. That would be number 1. Do I need to see any more from Trey Lance? The answer is yes, but he's going to be on the 53, which we had already discussed.
Right, confirmed. Trey Lance officially going to be, at the very least, the 3rd stringer.
So we also heard from Terrence Steele. So Terrence Steele, and actually it all kind of got started by McCarthy saying that Terrence Steele has never looked better. This is the best he's ever looked. So impressive. Terrence Steele, agreed with McCarthy, saying, yeah, definitely. It's my 5th year now, and every year is supposed to get better and better and better. It just feels like I'm growing under this process. I definitely feel like it's my best camp for sure. And he straight up says it. He's like, obviously, I wouldn't have said that last year, acknowledging that he didn't exactly have the greatest season either, saying, quote, I was 6 months removed from surgery. I had some ups and downs, but who doesn't, coming back from injury as fast as I did? People my size usually don't come back that fast. I'm proud of myself for what I did. I didn't miss a snap, and I didn't miss a practice. Let's be real, guys. That is more than commendable. We, gave him some crap throughout the season, but when the end of the season came and we realized just how much effort and time he put playing, you gotta give the man his props.
I just think that, I've given him a lot of shit. I know he had a bad year last year, but it's probably more the Cowboys that were, paying him sooner and making that look worse than it is him.
Again, that did not help matters at all, because it doesn't feel great to pay a player that just came off a big injury and doesn't have the greatest year. Very Michael Gallup-esque.
Yeah,
different sort of circumstances. Just saying that's obviously a recent example of
it's
a
good
situation
example
where we paid a guy before we were sure of what he was going to be able to provide.
It's a great example. The difference is that at offensive line, and compared to receiver, the receiver, you need to have those legs going. The offensive line, you need the legs as well, but it's a different thing. And the fact that he played every snap, the only guy in our offensive line that played every snap last year, that in itself means I feel good about this year for Terrence Steele going forward.
And no one's more excited about this season than Terrence Steele. He said it. I feel awesome. 100% healthy. I'm moving great. Knee doesn't bother me at all. I'm just happy to be healthy and continue to stay that way.
That's what we like to hear. Hell yeah.
Love it. So, and can't talk about the offense without talking about the defense. And Micah Parsons had quite a bit to say. I feel like he's gotten a lot of the spotlight here, especially with other players not being there to take the spotlight from him. Anyway, Micah had this to say as far as his podcast and people saying like, oh, this is a distraction and you shouldn't be doing it. He said, quote, I don't think no one really cares about what I'm doing on a Monday afternoon when I'm home with my kids. So why would they care if I'm on Xbox? I think we all get our own free time. When y'all away from here, are y'all thinking about me at home? I would hope not. I try not to say anything controversial, but everyone always is going to be drawn to something. They're going to try to take one thing. We all have opinions. We're not going to agree with what everyone says. That's life.
100% agree with him there. Again, it bothers me that he does his podcast, but I also understand what he's saying. Yeah, I wish he didn't do the podcast, but he does, and he has the right to do that.
So, and again, Micah Parsons added in a few other things just because, again, he has goals that he feels like he hasn't quite reached. Adding in there that, he's kind of approaching this season a little bit differently, saying, honestly, it was a deep conversation my teammates and I had last year before the playoffs, and guys were like, oh, you got to bring us along with you. You can't be on this journey alone if you're Mr. All-Pro. And then he said it was a reality check for me. I went to my mentors this offseason like, oh, how do I approach this? How do I get better at this? Because this is a task I've never had to take on before in my life. My whole life, it's been, oh, Micah's going to do what Micah's got to do, and I just expect everyone else to do that. So
I guess, you heard about some guys like Malik Hooker saying, and some other guys, and they're kind of
felt that Micah was being a little selfish.
Micah doing too much podcasting, too much selfish. Hey, wake up
call.
Too
much about him and his personal stuff, and less about things that impact the team.
At least it's reaching Micah. He's hearing it.
Well, that's commendable. Again, he heard it, and he's not just sitting there wishing it away or whatever the heck, right?
Exactly.
He acknowledged, though, he's like, part of the reason I'm here is because of that mentality, but obviously things have to change. Adding in there, quote, you learn that leadership means some people do need a pat on the back, and some people do need a push to tell them, oh, you need a little bit more out of them. Because everyone's not built the same, and everyone doesn't have the same mindset. I think it was a harsh reality check within myself. I got to do what I've got to do to make myself better, but also to bring along other guys. I feel like I needed that, and I'm glad I had that conversation early on in my career. So, again, credit where credit's due, Micah. He also added in there that, now that he's kind of, he's in his fourth year, still trying to figure out other things in the NFL, saying, quote, I want everyone on the same level. That's why you constantly see me running in the middle of practice. I want to make sure that I can't preach something and then not do it. They've got to see me do it. They've got to see if I'm not doing this, then I'm running, because I've got to be in the best shape for them and for me. So I'm just trying to show so much positive leadership. So it's like, man, if Mike is doing it, I've got to do it, or I'm not going to say nothing about it. I just want to check all the boxes so that when the playoffs and the season comes around, everyone's locked in, we're all on the same page, and it'll be like a breath of fresh air.
And, you know, again, completely can understand where he's coming from. Any thoughts on that from you? I mean, you pretty much self-explanatory.
I've kind of been giving my thoughts in between his little commentary there. So, sorry, it just kind of caught me a little bit off guard with that, just because I've been sharing my thoughts. So, I mean, do you have anything else to add?
No, I that's all.
So, Micah Parsons added in there a little bit more, saying, quote, "I'm trying to find every characteristic from winning teams. You've got to find characteristics from winning teams and try to bring it over to your team. All of these teams are different, but they all have similarities. That's why I'm so drawn to greats like Michael Jordan, Derek Jeter, Michael Strahan. It's because they have so much greatness and they have all the characteristics, or something that I can pull from that I can bring here."
Again, I think that, he talked about in the last. I will say this. I don't want to really. I know I'm kind of half interrupted, but him going to his mentors and getting the information on how to be a better leader. He's always gone to them about how to be a better player, how he can be a better player doing this, to get his teammates involved. But now he's got to be a better leader, not just by showing it, but by actually talking about it and getting them drawn into things.
Yeah, I think Micah,
and understanding things
in a lot of ways, still had the mentality of, the way to be a good leader is just to be the best player I can be. And while I don't disagree that, right, like he said, I'm trying to set that standard, I'm trying to set that example, I think he's starting to realize that, leadership takes more than just really good talent. I think Aaron Rodgers is a great example of that. Aaron Rodgers has always been an extremely talented man, but very few people would consider him a leader of his team the way that others kind of lead the team or inspire leadership, right?
Yeah.
So just saying that talent does not necessarily equal leadership. Glad to see that Micah, like you said, spent some time during the offseason honing those skills too. We need his leadership. It kind of, I didn't want to say it earlier just because it feels like a big assumption on my part, but all the experienced veterans on the D-line that we just brought in, it feels like part of the hole that they're trying to fill is that lack of leadership there. Just in general. I think
it's more positional. I think Micah is like the whole defense, leadership. Kind of like the Dak of the defense.
That's the thing, though. I consider Micah one of our great players. I consider him a guy that, is in the lead, but he's not, I wouldn't really call him a leader. That's one of the reasons why I'm really glad that he's like pointing out, like, shit, I gotta do something.
That's what I'm saying. He's not a leader in that. He's a leader in the way he plays, but not a leader of the team.
He might be leading, but he's not a leader. So anyway, that's it as far as Micah Parsons. Like I said, he's definitely been speaking a lot more during this entirety of training camp because, well, he has quite a bit to say, and people want to hear what he has to say, especially with the Zimmer defense and things like that. And even more importantly, glad to see him getting settled in on that side.
Getting a lot of work in the A-gap as well.
So now, I know you already mentioned Mozzie Smith, so you don't have to, focus on him too long, but he did mention that it was milk, apparently, specifically, that caused that allergic reaction. He said that he's had allergic reactions before, so he knew how to handle it. But I thought it was funny because he's like, I'm a big guy. I eat a lot of food. I know the ropes when it comes to having an allergic reaction. You can't panic. That also kind of concerns me, too, because it sounds like this man's just out here eating whatever he wants, and if it causes an allergic reaction, he'll worry about that shit later. Like, Mozzie, take yourself to an allergist and figure out why a random glass of milk almost, knocked you out. Please, someone help me out there. So, anyway, he did say it was going to be business as usual. As far as practice and everything else since then, we've already seen that it has been business as usual since then. So glad that he's okay. Glad everything's good. But I need like 3 Cowboy staffers to have an EpiPen with them at all times. Thanks, Mozzie. So the thing that I'm going to end it on, because I thought this was a really positive note to end it on too, our defensive edge, Carl Lawson. Right?
Number 72.
Yeah, I just wanted to end it on his commentary. He just spent the last 3 years with the Jets. He was with the Bengals before that. He had this to say, quote, "I honestly feel like a younger player. My potential, I honestly feel, hasn't been reached yet due to injuries or situations or teams that I've been on that we just haven't clicked or had quarterbacks playing, whether they're hurt or they've been on down offenses. I've been a very effective pass rusher in this league, but on losing teams. So the opportunity to possibly get on a team that can be up in games and I can really show my ability. And finally just getting back, then I'm healthy, so I'm excited. I'm just humbled and excited to be here and get to work. I've been in the game for a long time, but I do feel like a younger player. I've just never been able to put it all together. I know how talented I am, and I just want to keep working and be able to bring that to an organization to win and bring a Super Bowl back to Dallas."
Well, I like the way his attitude. He's a veteran, and look, when he's healthy, he is Dante Fowler and Dorrance Armstrong when he's healthy. So right now we just need to be a backup playing 25, 30 snaps a game. Can he do that for us and give us some kind of some kind of production? If he does, it's a big victory for us. But we got to manage him or he'll get hurt. But I love his attitude coming to Dallas and giving us that sixth trophy that we need to rep that star.
And I have to admit, it's easy to empathize with him, just because, again, I felt that pain when he said, like, I've played really well on losing teams. Like, I felt that because, again, how much talent has gone in and out of these doors here at the Star, at AT&T Stadium for this team.
Players have left and they've been,
there's
used
still a
properly.
part of me that is genuinely deeply like stays up late at night because Jason Witten doesn't have a ring.
I know.
Like, just to give you an example, in the sense of, like, man,
Bryant,
how much do you have to give to basically still not get what you feel like you deserve? But again, football is a meritocracy, right, Tony Romo? Mm-hmm. I love that. I've always borrowed that phrase from him because it's true. You doesn't matter how much effort you put in, how much work you put in, what you do. You generally only earn what you earn. Yeah. So let's go earn a Super Bowl, Cowboys.
Let's go get that. Thank you guys for rocking with us here. Another My Cowboys family. Again, it's not nightly anymore. More like twice a week is what we're going to get at here. Try to, maybe sometimes 3 times a week. We'll do our best.
Yeah, during the regular season, we're hoping to squeeze in, 3 live streams a week total, including our game day live stream.
It'll be at least the game day live stream, at least another check-in with you guys in a live stream. There might be standalone quick videos just to update on the day of the news, like a 10-minute video real quick from us. We might be doing that here and there, maybe on a nightly, maybe every other night, a video that will act as the live stream. And then once a week, maybe twice a week, have a live stream and talk it out with you guys. And, of course, always live for the game day reaction streams with you guys giving your input while we are live on camera, breaking down the good, bad, and the ugly of any game, whether it's our last preseason game, our first regular season game, or the Super Bowl for our Cowboys. We'll be here the whole way through the game day live streams. You know how we do. Unless something crazy happens, like we're at the game, or some other unfortunate thing may happen. Outside of those few things, we're going to be here for those game day live streams no matter what. Sneaking in 1 or 2 a week is the probability as well. We'll try to do our best for you guys. Busy schedule, a lot of things going on. One child going to college. We're doing college trips every week. The other one starting high school got banned every week. It's crazy on this side of the camera, on this side of the stream. So guys, thanks again for joining us. Can't do this without you guys. Big shout outs. If we have one more day left, that's like 13 hours away. Our last live stream of these last 2 weeks where we announce some champions. Right now, let me announce those that are repping the boards, like the sponsor of the week and the Cash App Queen, Chill Pill.
That's right.
Big shout outs to her. Record-breaking numbers from her on one night, on the week. She's right there at the top. So thank you, Chill Pill, on the After Dark specials. But that's ending now. The new leaders this week, the leader in the Cash App, is James Herr. James Herr is the leader, trying to take that Cash App crown from the Queen right now, Cash App Queen, Chill Pill. The current leader on the overall board, it was Marissa Sparkles. It was another lady taking over, but now it's Mark Hovsepian in first place currently, top of the spot, not far in front of everybody else. So it's a battle until the last minute, which will be tomorrow on our live stream for the rest of the week. Also, big shout outs to Marco Seppian holding it down at 67 points on the stream boss. And another shout out to the man who's repping that board as the membership gifting king for 10 out of 12 weeks. Big shout out to Jet Li 44. There is currently no leader on that board. That is wide open. Will Jet Li grab another 11 out of 13 weeks? Or will somebody else grab that by tomorrow at the end of our stream? We will see. We shall see. On that note, though, it is a wrap here on our side. I want to hear the last comments and shout-outs, baby. So go for it as you get ready to, get our stream set up for tomorrow's final preseason game against the Chargers.
Let me see. We have AF1892. Much love to you. Thanks for rocking here.
AF in the house. Been a while. Oh,
Jet Li 44 representing.
Jet Li.
Even you, Lee Side Herald. Dark Raven had to say go Cowboys. I had to.
Dark Raven. We'll see you on After Dark.
Wilson
Dark
Santiago, thanks for rocking with us here. We have, of course, a big mahalo to the man Marco Seppian.
First place on this board.
Shout out to Calvin Richard as well. Thank you for joining us here.
Yeah, the drops.
Yeah, so no more Poe.
No more Poe. No Poe.
Excuse me, a little hiccup there. Aztec Aguilar 04, have a great night. Skeptical fan always staying skeptical. Godless Manitoban, thanks for being here. Camine the 602.
In the house, yeah.
Excuse me, tuning in. Yes, guys. Unfortunately, our wrap-up here is going to be hiccup-filled. James Herr, what's up? So, like we said, MCF schedule, 3 times a week. Fingers crossed. Once the regular season is officially here.
At least the game day and one other stream.
Oh, for sure.
We'll try to get a third one in there every week. Hey, sometimes we might get 4 or a short one, but we also might get some short little 10-minute news updates, injury updates. Instead of going live, we just give you the injury updates on a 5 minutes video. So either way, just make sure you're subscribed and then you have the notification bell on, and hit the like button for this stream and all streams you see out here from my Cowboys family. Larry
rocking that sheriff's hat.
SCO971 in the house. As you can see, the MCF After Dark is loaded up. You guys can jump over there when you're ready. But yes, one of our After Dark friends over here, SCO971, repping it here with that 5 on it. What did he have to say?
He said, cheer.
Cheer with that 5 on it. The old smoky cheer. So big shout out to SCO971. Thank you. We'll see you in the After Dark in a little bit. It's going to be a music-heavy night tonight over there, I think, as we kick off a weekend. Also, big shout-out to Jet Li 44 with the first gifted membership of the week.
That's right.
Who was the lucky winner?
Teresa Stickle.
Miss Stickle in the house. Appreciate you. Teresa Stickle. Part of the family here. Part of the membership side, right? The Navy Blue crew.
That's
Enjoy
right.
your 1 month freebie there. And big shout out to Jet Li 44 for making it happen.
Yeah, sharing the love and showing the love.
Yeah, and sharing the hiccups. But yes, I will update the board for sure. But I know one thing for certain. Going in with one more day left to go for this week, we now have Mr. Jet Li 44 in first place on the gifting board, trying to go for that 11 weeks out of 13 in a row, not in a row, but 11 out of 13 weeks. He's going for that crown. We'll see what happens. One more day tomorrow to figure out who takes it down. Big shout out to SCO971. Big shout out to Jet Li 44. It's Marco Seppian down to 62 points on the stream boss. And I'll make sure the board is updated fully tomorrow. I'm pretty sure SCO actually moved up this board too because he was on here as well. So SCO971, Jet Li, all these guys moving on up. Can't wait to see where everyone lands. Before we kick off tomorrow's live stream, I have about 12 and a half hours from this moment.
So, as far as shout-outs in the chat, I literally was right at the end, if I'm not mistaken. I think Jeff Coughlin, shout-out to you, Revelation Journalist. I think those are the only 2 I missed as I was doing the shout-outs. So, thank you, everybody here, for joining us, chilling with us, hanging with us tonight. Can't wait to hopefully have not just our regular live stream, tomorrow with the game day stuff. I don't want to put this out into the universe. Hopefully we have to go live on Sunday for some breaking CeEDEE Lamb news. Yeah, right? That's the optimist in me. The realist in me says, we'll see you guys next week.
Well, after the game tomorrow, yes.
But yes, with that said though, baby, again, there's a lot of reasons that we do what we do here on the MCF side of things, and some of it actually all of it, has to do with our navy blue, that silver too. Most of all, that star over everything.
That star over everything. Yeah, here at MCF, win, lose, or draw, good, bad, or ugly, we always will rep that star over everything. Here on this channel for 7 years, full years on YouTube, 8th season of doing this, 8th year of doing this. Here in My Cowboys Family, never forget the number one thing here, now, and forever. As always, go Cowboys! Let's get that 6 and beyond. Thank you all for dropping the knowledge in the chat all night long, all night. And yes, the game is on, I think on NFL Network, if I'm not mistaken. Also want to
4 p.m. Eastern.
4 p.m. Eastern time, 3 Central. It's going to be a home game for the Cowboys against the Chargers. I do want to shout out a couple other names here, like Tony Wimbish, William Burney, JD from DC, all back in the membership. We also got Dwayne Broussard, a.k.a. Top Dog Bay Bullies, Skeptical Fan, Calvin Richard, Sco971, Jet Lee 44, you see him on the screen there, and Mark Hovsepian currently in first place on the overall board. Those that drop the love from above, whether in the membership, whether gifting memberships, jumping in the memberships, or dropping the love here or in the Cash App, wherever way, thank you guys. Big shout outs, and another shout out to Jet Lee 44 with the $1.60 holler. And I go Cowboys as he takes Mark down to 60 points. That's a Tyler Guyton as we kick off tomorrow's game against the Chargers right here. And we get basically the bottom of our 53-man roster and our practice squad kind of, I would say, much more finalized after tomorrow's Charger game. Join us for that and more right here, My Cowboys Family. Cannot wait to see you all back here. Thank you for dropping your knowledge in the chat. Much love and humbled by the best fans of all YouTube that drop the love from above. And, of course, as we clock out and drop out of here for the night, relock and reload for about a little over 12 hours from right now to our game day live stream reaction cameras on. We'll give you our true gritty opinions as the game is going live, and hopefully you guys give us yours too. We'll see you all soon, but maybe on that note, as we get on out of here for the night, tell everybody what we got to do first before we drop out of here for the evening.
We got to drop the beat.
Oh yeah, that beat is officially dropped. Thank you all for rocking with us. You can be anywhere right now. We had 40-something people in the house. Appreciate you on this. We always do the late night thing, so we know we're not getting those big-ass 100 numbers. It's all right. We'll go after dark for the numbers and for that kind of fun. For here, we talk Cowboy football. That's what we do, from beginning to end. Thank you all for being here for all the news, info, and updates on our Dallas Cowboys as you joined us here for another Cowboys chat right here in MCF, guys. Training camp recap for the week. We gave you the preseason Game 3 preview for tomorrow and all the stuff in between. The new players, the new players that are kind of old, and injury updates and the CeeDee Lamb situation and on as Jerry's kissing any trophy. Any trophy is doing good for him, even if it's the Oxnard trophy. Whatever. Here in MCF, it's about that navy blue, that silver too, that star over everything. Never, ever forget the number one thing right here on My Cowboys Family. It's you guys. Thank you for making this happen for over 7 years. Hitting that like for the stream. Hitting subscribe for the channel. So close to 40,000 subscribers. And, of course, that notification bell to all videos. That's the way you know we're going live, as another gifted membership has been dropped. Oh, there it is. And Scorpio back in the mix. And the Navy Blue crew, congrats to Scorpio. And thank you, Jet Lee 44, once again, adding another gifted membership to this week's tally. Thank you all, guys. Cannot do it again. I cannot do this without your love and support. So follow us on Discord and X Twitter at My Cowboys Family. Stay safe and be back here in about 12 hours, a little over 12 hours for the live stream Game 3 reaction to this preseason battle against the Chargers. Peace out. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon. And never ever forget, go Cowboys!